Have you noticed how a stray sentence from a stranger can colonize your whole mind? How one careless glance can tint the rest of the day, a color you never chose? Rage simmers a tight knot, coils under the ribs, and the inner prosecutor slams the gavel. How dare they? It's exhausting because anger spins you first. The Buddha did not threaten punishment for anger. He simply pointed to cause and effect. Hold fire, hands burn. We don't need a metaphysical court, only honesty about where suffering begins. Here is the turn that will change your map. Your anger is not a destiny, it's a decision. Not a moral failure, but a choice point, repeating itself moment to moment. We inherit conditions, traffic messages typed too fast, politics performed like sport, but we author reactions. Imagine becoming a lighthouse on a rough coast. Waves crash, gulls scream, the night wind rattles windows, and yet the beam turns without hurry. The sea does not ask permission to be wild. The lighthouse does not ask permission to be steady. Let me tell you a story I once heard from an old Zen gardener. Each spring he trained apprentices to carry bowls of indigo dye from the workshop to the courtyard where cloths waited on bamboo lines. The path wound through a bustling alley. The fishmonger's shouts, children playing tag dogs, nosing everything. He warned them only once. Arrive with the color still in the bowl. The first apprentice walked out stiff as a board, glaring at every distraction. A boy bumped him. He snapped the bowl, sloshed, a blue starburst stained his robe. Enraged, he scolded the child and blamed the alley. The second apprentice tried to outpace chaos. Quick steps, jaw clenched, only to stumble at the curb. The third paused at the threshold, placed one palm under the bowl as if supporting the sky, and exhaled. He entered the alley with a soft gaze, weaving when the world moved, stopping when the world stopped. A dog barked. He smiled. A cart squeaked. He waited. He returned with dye unspilled robe, unstained breath unbroken. The gardener bowed to him and said, "You walked the bowl, not the alley." We cannot edit the alley. We can walk the bowl. The bowl is the mind, the color inside it becomes the color of your day. When you hand the bowl to whoever happens to jostle you, you stain yourself and call it justice. But the Dharma is plain, causes bring effects. Not you will be punished for anger, as if anger were a crime. Rather, you are punished by it because it seizes your steering wheel and drives you somewhere you never intended to go. This does not mean suppress or sugarcoat. It means see. Anger is a flare on the horizon, not the captain of the ship. When it ignites, first survey the deck. Where is the breath? Where are the hands? Where is attention aimed? The breath is an anchor you carry everywhere. 3 honest inhales are wiser than 30 clever retorts. The body tells the truth. The stomach clenches. The shoulders rise, the jaw locks. Gently unlock them and you dim the fuse. The thought stream will try to recruit you. They always do this. I deserve better. I will show them. These are not edicts. They are offers. You don't have to sign. A useful image, you are a temple bell. The world is full of strikers, some soft, some iron. You cannot decide what hands approach, but you do choose whether to ring. Bells ring because they are suspended and hollow. Your ring comes from identification, from mistaking the strike for you. When insult lands, name it exactly and no more sound at the doorway. Do not step outside to argue with the wind. If you refuse to ring, even a heavy striker grows bored. But what about injustice? Are we to be doormats, serene statues while harm walks by? That is not the teaching. The Buddha did not model numbness. He taught wise response. Heat without smoke. Fire for cooking, not for arson. You can draw boundaries from clarity instead of fury. You can say no without dragging the entire courthouse of grievance behind it. In fact, you will set cleaner boundaries when the mind isn't fogged by rage, because you'll see what actually needs to be protected. Here is a practice from the gardener's alley that you can adopt right now anywhere without a cushion or a shrine. 1. Name the moment. When the trigger hits email, horn tone of voice, whisper inwardly, contact. Naming interrupts the trance. It's the difference between being underwater and realizing you're swimming. 2. Return. 1 breath. Not a perfect breath, just one you can feel. Inhale like the tide arriving. Exhale like it leaves the bay. If words want to sprint from your mouth, slow them to the pace of breath. 3. Ask the decisive question. Does this deserve the color of my day? If your peace were a non-negotiable contract, would you sign an amendment for this moment? Almost always the answer is no, and that honest no loosens the knot. 4. Translate the signal. Anger announces that something matters. What respect safety rests truth. Name the value under the flame. I care about fairness. Now address that value deliberately, rather than letting the flame choose tactics for you. 5. Choose the bowl. Decide how you will carry your color across the alley. This might mean replying with 1 clear sentence tomorrow, rather than 5 scalding paragraphs tonight. It might mean walking away not to sulk, but to keep the dye from spilling. You might protest, but they made me angry. This sounds like physics force equals reaction, but the mind is not a billiard table. Between impact and response, there is a corridor of freedom. At first, it feels narrow as a reed. With practice, it widens until an entire city of choices lives there. Great teachers are not people who never feel heat. They are artisans of that corridor. They know the weight of the bowl in any weather. Consider also the economy of rage. Anger promises quick profit, adrenaline certainty, a story in which I am right, but the interest rate is merciless. Sleep erodes, relationships crack, the heart becomes cramped. Peace looks like meager returns at first, a slow savings plan. Yet over years, the account compounds into something wealth cannot buy, a nervous system that believes you. When you say, "We're safe enough to pause," your body believes you, because you have proven it in 1,000 small storms. Do not worry about becoming perfect. Perfection is just another disguise for control. Today, you spill a little dye, tomorrow less. What matters is direction, turning from reflex to response, from possession by anger to partnership with wisdom. In Buddhist language, this is the path from reactivity, samskara in motion, to skillful means, upaya, that liberates. In ordinary language, becoming someone you trust when the alley gets loud. Here is your field assignment for the next 24 hours. Pick 1 predictable trigger commute, a colleague's tone, a family member's always. When it occurs, do exactly 3 moves. Name, breath, question. That's it. No lecture, no debate, no manifesto. Then at day's end, write 2 lines. What mattered underneath the anger? What response honored that, without staining my day? This is how art is made, from rough ore to bright blade, patiently, without drama. Remember the gardener's bow to the apprentice who returned unstained. He did not praise him for dominating the alley. He honored him for shepherding color with care. You may not control what crowds the path. You can carry your mind as if it were precious, because it is. The world will always have elbows. Walk the bowl. There is a stillness that exists beneath every storm, not the absence of sound, but the presence of clarity. You have tasted it, perhaps fleetingly, a breath taken before a sharp reply, a heartbeat's hesitation, that prevents a word you cannot unsay. That pause, that sacred interval, is the gate to freedom. In it, the Buddha whispers the difference between mastery and misery. Pause before reacting. It sounds small, almost trivial, yet it holds the power to reshape an entire life. Anger thrives on momentum. It feeds on the belief that speed is strength. But what if true strength were found in slowness, the deliberate, unhurried grace of awareness? There is a story from a forgotten monastery in the north, where winters were so silent that monks could hear snow landing on bamboo leaves. A novice was tasked with tending the temple's fire through the night. Near dawn, exhausted, he dozed off. When the master entered, the fire had nearly died. The novice jolted awake, terrified of rebuke. But the master simply placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "Notice the ember still glowing beneath the ash. That ember is enough." Then he added, "So too with anger. Beneath the heat, there is always a moment, a single glowing ember before the fire consumes you. Find it, and you need not burn." To pause is not to surrender. It is to see. It is the act of reclaiming your authorship in a story that habit tries to write for you. Between the spark and the flame, between insult and reply, there is a space where choice still lives. That space is the measure of your freedom. Imagine a bow drawn tight with an arrow. If released too soon, it harms without purpose. If held with awareness, it becomes precision. The pause is that holding not forever, only long enough to choose where you aim. Every argument, every misunderstanding, every surge of emotion offers this bow in your hands. Whether it wounds or awakens depends entirely on your moment of stillness. You may wonder, how do I find that pause when emotion floods so fast? The answer is practice, but not the stiff kind that demands perfection. Think of it as training a bird to land on your palm. At first, it startles at every sound. With gentleness, it learns to trust the stillness of your hand. The mind is that bird. Anger, fear, irritation. These are winds. Each breath of awareness is an invitation for the bird to return. Try this when provoked. Feel the body before the mind story begins. The story says, "They disrespected me." The body says, heat in the chest, pulse in the throat, breath shortening. Anchor to the body, not the story. One slow inhale through the nose, one exhale through the mouth. Picture yourself as a mountain, not the snowstorm swirling around it, but the mountain itself, ancient and unmoved. You don't need to silence the storm. You need only remember what doesn't move. There's another story from the life of a poet named Haiyan, who once served tea to a visiting warlord. The warlord, impatient and arrogant, complained, "You pour too slowly. Are you mocking me?" Haiyan bowed and replied, "Forgive my slowness, my lord. I was watching the steam, it rises only once." The warlord froze the rage in his face, softening into bewilderment. He sat in silence, watching the steam curl and vanish. That moment, a pause wrapped in humility, dissolved the conflict completely. To pause is to offer the world space to breathe again. When you pause, the other person is forced to meet their own echo. Without your reaction to feed on their anger, encounters silence. And silence is a mirror too honest for most to bear. The pause does not just protect you. It heals the field between you. Society tells you otherwise. It glorifies reaction. The clapback, the instant reply, the proof that you're not to be disrespected. But the Dharma teaches that every immediate reaction binds you tighter to the wheel of suffering. When you pause, you step off that wheel, if only for a breath. It is there in that breath that wisdom sneaks in. If pausing feels unnatural, start small. The next time someone interrupts you before defending yourself, silently count to 3. When a text provokes you, wait 5 minutes before typing. When traffic snarls and horns blare, rest your hand gently over your heart and ask, what part of me is so eager to prove its existence through resistance? Each pause is a seed. At first, it looks insignificant, a brief restraint that no one notices. But over weeks, months, years, those seeds grow into forests of composure shade where chaos cannot reach. Do not confuse the pause with suppression. Suppression pushes anger underground where it festers. The pause brings it into sunlight where it can be seen without obeyed. To pause is to honor the emotion without surrendering to it. You're not denying the wave you're learning to surf. There is a saying among Tibetan monks: the slowest arrow hits the deepest truth. When you react instantly, you pierce yourself. When you pause, you aim with compassion. Sometimes that compassion means speaking firmly. Sometimes it means walking away. Sometimes it means smiling because the moment no longer owns you. A modern parable illustrates this. A teacher drew a small dot on a whiteboard and asked the class what they saw. A black dot, they said. He smiled. Yes, but what about the white space? Anger is that black dot. The pause reminds you of the vast white space around it, your capacity for patience, perspective, and peace. The mind loves to zoom into the dot, forgetting the canvas it sits on. The pause zooms you back out. With time, this becomes instinctive. The body learns the rhythm of restraint, and you begin to trust your silence. You stop needing to prove that you're right, because peace feels better than being right ever did. The tongue becomes slower, the mind lighter, and your presence itself becomes a refuge, not just for you, but for others who feel your calm and remember their own. So here's your 7-day challenge. Each time frustration flickers, imagine a small bell inside your chest. When the emotion strikes, let the bell ring once a single clear sound. Do not speak until the echo fades. When the bell quiets, decide whether words are still necessary. You will be amazed at how often they are not. Pausing doesn't make you passive. It makes you powerful. It turns the chaos of reaction into the choreography of awareness. You stop being a character pushed by circumstance and become the author of your piece. The snow still falls on the bamboo leaves, but now you can hear the silence between each flake. That silence is you. There is a question that drifts through every human heart. If I feel anger, have I already failed? No. Feeling is not failure. It is simply weather. What matters is what you build beneath that weather, a shelter, not a storm. A young seeker once asked a Zen master, "How do I stop being angry?" The master handed him a glass jar filled with muddy water. "Shake it," he said. The student shook until the mud swirled wildly. "Now," said the master, placing the jar on the table watch. Slowly, the water began to clear each speck of silt, settling into stillness. "You see," the master said softly, "your mind is the jar, not the mud." This story is a map of your inner world. Most people believe they are the storm, that if anger arises, they have become anger itself. But you are not the mud swirling inside the jar. You are the space that holds it. The mud settles naturally if you stop shaking it with your thoughts. Emotions are movements, not monuments. They come to go. The problem begins when you believe they define you, when you call them mine. You say my anger, my sadness, my frustration, as if they were possessions. But what if emotions are simply visitors? guests passing through the house of awareness. You can open the door to see them, but you don't have to invite them to stay. The Buddha once compared emotions to clouds. They pass through the sky, sometimes heavy with rain, sometimes light and formless. But the sky, your true nature, remains untouched. No storm, no matter how fierce, can stain the sky. To separate your feelings from your reactions is to rediscover this sky. The feeling says, I am hurt. The reaction says, I will hurt back. The feeling is a messenger. The reaction is the weapon you forge from misunderstanding. The work of mindfulness is to read the message before reaching for the sword. Let's imagine a modern scene. You receive a message from a friend that feels cold, shorter than usual, lacking warmth. The mind leaps into its stories. They must be angry. I must have done something wrong. Emotion swells, and soon irritation replaces curiosity. Within minutes, you've crafted a whole fiction in which betrayal already happened. But pause. The feeling here is simple uncertainty, perhaps fear of disconnection. The reaction, however, is accusation. If you can catch the feeling before it hardens into story, you can respond with compassion. I sense something's off. Are you okay? The storm dissolves before it rains. When you separate feelings from reactions, you stop confusing pain with punishment. Pain is natural. It's life brushing against your expectations. Suffering begins when you resist that touch. Buddhism names this dukkha, the friction between what is and what you wish were. There's a small exercise for this. Next time anger rises, speak to it as though it were a person knocking at your door. Hello, anger. I see you. You don't have to invite it in for tea, but you also don't slam the door. Stand at the threshold and listen. What is it trying to tell you? Often anger is guarding something tender, an unhealed wound, an ignored need, an unspoken truth. When you listen, the voice beneath the roar becomes clear. I just wanted to be understood, or I'm afraid of being dismissed. When you can hear that voice, compassion enters. In meditation halls across Asia, monks are taught to label emotions with gentleness. Thinking, feeling. The labeling doesn't suppress emotion. It gives it form like a painter tracing outlines before adding color. Awareness frames the chaos. When emotion has a name, it cannot hijack the whole mind. But the world rarely slows down for you to process gently. That's why practice happens in ordinary places, in traffic, in queues, in meetings. Try this when emotion grips you. Shift focus to your senses. What sound can you hear right now? The hum of an air conditioner, the tap of a keyboard, your own breath. What texture is beneath your hands? This simple act of noticing the present moment pulls you from the movie of the mind back into the theater of reality. The emotion loses its monopoly on your attention. There is a saying from the Theravada tradition: feel the feeling, drop the story. The feeling itself is often bearable. It's the story that multiplies suffering. Anger says, I am hurt. The story says, they always hurt me. Anger fades. The story repeats. By dropping the story, you give anger permission to leave when its lesson is delivered. Another simple yet powerful ritual is writing and releasing. When the storm feels too heavy to hold, write it down, every raw thought, every unfair sentence. Then burn the paper or tear it apart. Watch the smoke or fragments rise. Say quietly, this was energy passing through. The act transforms emotion into witness. It tells the body the storm has spoken. It can rest now. Pain, you will notice, often lingers longer than it needs to. That's because the mind replays it believing that replaying is protection. But pain remembered is not protection, it is repetition. The Buddha likened it to being shot by two arrows. The first is the actual event, the second is our reaction to it. The first arrow wounds. The second one keeps reopening the wound. You cannot avoid the first, but you can choose not to fire the second. So when emotion rises like a tide, let it. Do not try to dam it or curse the water. Step aside and let it surge. Then ask, what is this teaching me? Every emotion, when held with awareness, becomes a teacher. Anger may teach you boundaries. Sadness may teach you depth. Fear may teach you humility. But when you resist, you learn nothing. Emotions are not enemies of enlightenment. They are its raw material. The lotus blooms from mud, not marble. If you can sit with the mud without judging it, clarity blossoms naturally. Here's your practice for this week. Whenever you feel anger or sadness, change your language. Don't say I am angry. Say anger is visiting. Don't say I am sad. Say sadness is here. You'll notice something subtle. Space opens. You stop being the emotion. You become its witness. And in that witnessing, peace quietly returns. The jar doesn't fight the mud. It holds it until it settles. You can do the same. Let the storm swirl without shaking the jar. When the water clears, you'll see your reflection again, calm, whole, untouched. A traveler once wandered into the mountains, weary from the world's endless noise. He found an old hermit tending a small garden beside a stream. Master, the traveler said, I've tried everything. Prayer, meditation, good deeds. Yet life still feels unfair. I work hard, treat others kindly, and still people betray me. Why is life so cruel? The hermit looked toward the stream where the current brushed against stones, but never stopped. Do you see that water? He asked. It never argues with the rocks. It doesn't demand they move. It simply flows around them. Then he added, suffering begins when you believe the rocks should not be there. We live inside a constant storm of expectations, tiny invisible threads that bind us to disappointment. We expect others to understand us, to return our kindness, to behave as we believe they should. We expect life to unfold neatly according to our efforts. But when reality doesn't meet those expectations, anger rises, followed by resentment, followed by exhaustion. The mind begins its chorus. This shouldn't have happened. They should have known better. Life isn't fair. Yet the universe never promised fairness according to our definitions. It promised impermanence, change, growth, decay, renewal. The Buddha taught that expectation is the seed of suffering because it demands permanence from what is fluid. It demands the river to hold still. Think of the countless times you've been hurt, not by what happened, but by what you believed should have happened. Someone forgets your birthday. Your mind says, they don't care. But what if they were overwhelmed or lost in their own pain? You lose a job. The mind says, this is failure. Yet what if that door closing redirects you to a path you never would have dared to choose? Expectation narrows life to a single outcome, but wisdom allows life to surprise you. There was once a king who adored his horse. One day, the horse ran away. The townspeople lamented, what misfortune. But the wise old monk in the village smiled. Perhaps. Days later, the horse returned with a herd of wild horses. The people rejoiced. What good fortune. Again, the monk said, perhaps. The king's son tried to tame one and broke his leg. Terrible, the villagers cried. Perhaps, said the monk. Soon after war broke out. The son, unable to fight, was spared. Life is like that, too vast to be judged from one moment's vantage. What seems like loss today may be grace in disguise. When you drop expectations, you stop labeling every event as good or bad. You begin to trust the unfolding, even when you can't yet see the pattern. Letting go of expectation doesn't mean apathy. It means participation without attachment, acting fully, loving deeply, but releasing the outcome. The Bhagavad Gita echoes this wisdom. You have the right to your actions, but never to their fruits. This is what the Buddha called equanimity, balance in the face of uncertainty. Imagine walking through life as that river flowing, not forcing. When obstacles appear, you don't curse the stones, you curve around them. The stones, after all, shape your melody. Without them, the water would make no sound. But letting go is hard because the ego craves control. It whispers, "If I expect enough, I can predict pain." Yet control is a mirage. Even the most careful plans are fragile before the breath of impermanence. The practice, then, is not to eliminate preference, but to hold it lightly, like a bird resting on your hand, free to leave when the wind calls. Try this small meditation. Sit quietly and bring to mind something that frustrates you, a person, a delay, a disappointment. Notice the sentence forming in your head. This shouldn't be like this. Then with one gentle breath, replace it with, this is what it is. Feel the body's resistance soften. You may even sense a strange relief. Acceptance does not mean approval. It means ceasing to fight with reality. Ajahn Chah, the Thai forest monk, once said, "If you let go a little, you'll have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you'll have a lot of peace. If you let go completely, you'll know freedom." The deeper your release, the lighter your life becomes. Letting go is not giving up. It is giving in to the truth that everything changes. It's trusting that what leaves creates space for what's next. In that trust, gratitude grows naturally. A woman once wept before the Buddha grieving the death of her child. He asked her to bring a mustard seed from a house untouched by death. She searched every home in the village, but everywhere she went, she met loss. Returning empty-handed, she understood suffering as universal. Expecting life to be otherwise was the real sorrow. Every should you release frees you from a chain you didn't realize you were dragging. Every moment accepted as is becomes a doorway to serenity. The world no longer owes you anything, and that revelation is not bitter, it's liberating. So the next time you catch yourself thinking, they should have apologized, or this shouldn't have happened, pause. Replace it with a single question. What if life is teaching me through this? The lesson may not arrive wrapped in beauty, but it will always arrive bearing wisdom. And if the mind resists, picture the river again. Feel yourself as that current gliding around stones, singing over them, never demanding, never blaming. The river loses nothing by flowing. It only polishes what once seemed unmovable. The rocks in your path are not punishments. They are invitations to flow more gracefully, to see that peace isn't found in rearranging the world, but in releasing your grip on how you think it should be. When you live without rigid expectations, everything becomes a gift, a stranger's kindness, a delay that reveals patience, a loss that uncovers strength. The tighter you hold, the more you suffer. The more you release, the more you receive. Let life flow through you, not against you. There's a kind of war that takes place in almost every conversation, subtle, invisible, and exhausting. It's the battle to be right. You can feel it rising in your chest when someone disagrees, that burning urge to prove, to defend, to have the last word. But in this silent war, victory costs peace. A samurai once visited a Zen master seeking wisdom. "Master," he said, "teach me how to win every argument." The The Zen master smiled gently. "Walk away." The samurai frowned. "But then I lose." The master's eyes glimmered. "Do you lose your peace, or do you lose your pride?" This is the paradox of wisdom. Sometimes silence is the loudest answer, and surrender is the greatest triumph. In our modern world, where opinions shout louder than truth, we equate being right with being powerful. But the Buddha taught that power without compassion becomes bondage. The mind that must always win cannot rest. It must keep fighting to justify its victory. Think about the last argument you had, the replay that ran in your mind for hours, the imaginary lines you wished you'd said, the exhaustion afterward. Did being right bring peace, or did it leave a residue of restlessness? Words can be weapons or bridges. Most people use them to attack, but the wise use them to connect. To choose peace over being right is not weakness. It's wisdom in its highest form. Because peace sustains you long after the argument fades. There's a tale from an old monastery. Two monks were sweeping leaves when one said, "The wind is moving the trees." The other replied, "No, the trees move the wind." They argued until the head monk passed by. He listened and said, "Neither the trees nor the wind moves, your minds move." And he walked on. In that instant, both monks fell silent. They understood arguments are the mind trying to prove its existence. But truth doesn't need defenders. It simply is. Imagine a bamboo grove swaying in a storm. The bamboo bends, but it does not break. That is its strength, flexibility. The more rigid the tree, the easier it snaps. In the same way, when we cling to being right, we lose our ability to bend. We break where we could have flowed. Here's a practice the next time you feel that rush of "I must correct them." Pause. Ask, what do I want more, to win or to understand? Understanding requires humility, but humility gives birth to peace. When someone throws words like stones responding in kind, only builds higher walls. But saying "I see your point" without sarcasm or surrender creates space for healing. You're not agreeing, you're acknowledging humanity. You're saying, your truth is yours, mine is mine, and both can exist without destruction. The Buddha once said, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." If you can speak that one word, or even better, offer silence when silence soothes you, wield a power greater than argument, the power to end cycles of harm. Let's be honest, it's not easy. The ego is clever. It disguises itself as righteousness. It whispers, "If I don't defend myself, I'm weak." But true strength doesn't need to shout. A lion doesn't explain it's a lion. When you stop chasing validation, you begin to taste freedom. You realize that the mind's need to be right is just fear. Fear of insignificance. Fear of being unseen. But when you rest in truth, you see there's nothing to prove, because nothing essential can be taken from you. In the Mahayana texts, there's an image of the Bodhisattva standing before a raging crowd. They shout, insult, even strike him. Yet he smiles, not because he agrees with them, but because he sees beyond them. He sees suffering disguised as aggression. His silence isn't passivity, it's compassion. He refuses to mirror their pain. To choose peace over being right is to protect your inner kingdom. You become a guardian of your own stillness. And something miraculous happens when you stop reacting. Others soften too. Your calm becomes contagious. Your silence teaches louder than your defense ever could. You might wonder, but what if they think I'm weak? Let them. The ocean never argues with the rain. It simply absorbs it and remains vast. Sometimes saying you may be right is not agreement, it's transcendence. It means I will not descend into battle. It means I care more about harmony than ego. Here's a small practice for the next 7 days. In any disagreement, pause before replying. Feel where your body tightens, maybe the jaw, the stomach, the shoulders. That's the ego bracing for war. Relax that area before you speak. Then try one of these phrases. I understand where you're coming from. Maybe we're both seeing parts of the same truth. Peace matters more to me than winning this. Each time you choose one of these sentences over your old reflex, notice the relief that follows. It's like putting down a heavy shield you never needed. Remember, silence can be a sentence too, one that ends conflict. In time, you'll discover a freedom that no argument can give, the freedom to let others be wrong without losing your peace. As Thich Nhat Hanh wrote, when another person makes you suffer, it is because he suffers deeply within himself. He does not need punishment, he needs help. So the next time someone lashes out, look deeper. See the hurt behind their words. Respond not with logic, but with presence. Sometimes a single breath of compassion dissolves what 10 explanations could not. Winning arguments builds walls. Choosing peace builds bridges, and peace, once chosen enough times, becomes your natural state. Not because the world is quiet, but because you are. Like the bamboo bend, don't break. Let the wind of opinion pass through you, and you'll discover that what is truly yours can never be shaken. There is a moment every soul encounters when the echo of another's judgment pierces the heart like a blade. Someone calls you weak, unworthy, foolish, or worse, and though you try to ignore it, the words hang in the air heavy and uninvited. It's strange how something as light as sound can bruise so deeply. Yet the Buddha once lifted a small rock and said to his disciple, "If I call this a diamond, does it shine brighter? If I call it worthless, does it lose its weight?" The disciple shook his head. Then the Buddha smiled. Why should your worth change because of someone's words? In that single gesture, the entire illusion of approval dissolved. For what is the value of a human life, if not beyond praise or blame? Most of us live as though our worth is borrowed from the compliments that inflate us and the criticism that deflates us. We let strangers, friends, bosses, even the faceless crowd decide who we are. A kind word lifts us. A harsh one breaks us. We forget that words by their nature are impermanent vibrations. They cannot touch the essence they try to describe. The wise do not chase the echo. They rest in the silence beneath it. Imagine a solid mountain. Whether clouds gather or storms roar, the mountain remains. It does not chase the sun when light leaves, nor curse the rain when shadows fall. The Buddha compared the enlightened one to such a mountain, unmoved by praise or blame, steady in truth. The moment you base your worth on external approval, you hand your peace to the world, and the world is a fickle master. Today, it crowns you. Tomorrow, it crucifies you. One day, you're adored, the next, you're forgotten. If you live for applause, silence becomes your enemy. But if you live from awareness, silence becomes your home. When someone insults you, pause before reacting. Ask yourself, is this a reflection of me or of them? Most often people speak from their own wounds. A bitter heart cannot see sweetness. An insecure mind cannot recognize humility. When they say, "You're selfish," perhaps they mean, "I feel unseen." When they say, "You've changed," perhaps they mean, "You've stopped meeting my expectations." Understanding this doesn't mean you accept disrespect. It means you refuse to carry what isn't yours. If someone hands you a burning coal, and you choose not to take it, who gets burned? They do. That is the secret of detachment. You don't fight back, you simply don't receive the poison. Here is a simple practice to anchor this truth. The next time someone's words wound, you take 3 breaths and whisper inwardly, unshaken like the mountain, clear like the sky. Feel your spine lengthen, your breath deepen. Then write down 3 affirmations that speak from your core. If they call you weak, write, I am resilient. If they call you unworthy, write, I define my own worth. If they try to shame you, write, I choose compassion over reaction. This act of reclaiming your voice from others' opinions trains the mind to return home, because your worth does not fluctuate with the weather of public opinion. It is the steady ground beneath all storms. You see, the moment you stop reacting to others' judgments, you begin to glimpse a deeper power, the quiet dignity of self-knowledge. When you know who you are, no one's praise can intoxicate you, and no one's insult can wound you. You become like a calm lake. It mirrors the clouds above, but does not cling to their shapes. Whether the world admires or mocks you, reflect without absorbing. The reflection comes and goes. The water remains clear. But there's a paradox. When you no longer seek approval, you naturally gain respect. People sense something unshakable in you, a gravity that doesn't bend to opinion. Your silence unsettles those who expect your reaction because they can no longer control you with words. The Buddha's serenity disturbed kings and critics alike, not because he argued, but because he didn't need to. His peace was the loudest answer. So let this be your daily vow: I will not let others' noise dictate my worth. When someone praises you, receive it with gratitude, but don't cling. When someone criticizes you, listen with curiosity, but don't absorb. Both are merely winds passing over your surface. You remain the mountain. You remain the sky. And remember, detachment does not mean indifference. It means deep understanding. You still listen, you still feel, but you no longer drown in what you hear. You let words arrive and leave like visitors, while your home, your true self, stays undisturbed. Every morning before you step into the world, repeat this mantra. Today I will meet both kindness and cruelty, both approval and blame. I will let them come and let them go, but I will remain the same. In time, this becomes your natural rhythm. The words of others lose their spell, and your heart beats to its own calm drum. One who depends on others for validation lives in chains. One who depends on awareness lives in freedom. And freedom is the highest praise life can give you. There's a quiet exhaustion that seeps into the soul of those who give endlessly, the kind of fatigue that doesn't come from work, but from constantly saying yes when the heart whispers no. We call it kindness, we call it compassion, but often it's self-abandonment disguised as virtue. The Buddha taught that compassion without wisdom leads to suffering, just as wisdom without compassion becomes cold. To live in balance, we must learn the sacred art of boundaries, the invisible moat that guards the peace within the castle of your mind. A wise monk once told a visitor who prided himself on generosity, "You cannot pour tea from an empty pot." The man laughed, thinking it a metaphor. The monk smiled and began pouring tea into his guest's cup until it overflowed, spilling across the table. "Stop," the man cried. "It's full," the monk replied. "And yet you keep pouring." The man understood. So many of us live like that cup, full of others' needs, others' expectations, others' chaos, until there's no room left for our own peace. We confuse endless giving with goodness, but giving beyond your capacity is not virtue. It is self-neglect. The world does not benefit from your burnout. Boundaries are not walls that shut people out. They are gates that teach others how to enter respectfully. Imagine a peaceful temple high in the mountains. The temple doors are open to those who come in reverence, but closed to those who would bring destruction. Does that make the temple unkind? No, it preserves sacredness. In the same way, your time, energy, and attention are sacred spaces. Not everyone deserves equal access to them. In Buddhist tradition, there is the principle of right effort to act with balance, neither indulging nor neglecting. Setting a boundary is right effort in practice. When you say no from love instead of guilt, you're not rejecting others, you're honoring truth. Every no to chaos is a yes to clarity. You may have noticed how certain conversations drain you, while others fill you. Some people leave you calm, others leave you buzzing with agitation. This isn't judgment, it's awareness. Noticing what contracts or expands your energy is the first step to protecting it. When you feel your peace slipping, don't rush to fix or please. Step back. Breathe. Ask yourself, is this mine to carry? If not, lay it down. The Buddha compared compassion to a lamp. It lights the path of others, but only if its flame is protected from the wind. If you let every gust of emotion, every demand, every argument blow through you, soon the flame dies out. To keep it alive, you must shield it sometimes with silence, sometimes with distance. But boundaries are often misunderstood. People may call you selfish, distant, even unkind. Remember this: those who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always resist when you set them. That resistance is not a sign that you are wrong. It's proof that you're growing. A person who truly loves you will not be threatened by your limits. They will respect them because they want you whole, not hollow. There's a story of a hermit who lived by a river. Each day, villagers came to seek his advice, until one day he stopped answering the door. They grew angry, calling him arrogant. Months later, he returned serene and radiant. "Why did you hide?" they demanded. The hermit smiled. "Because I had begun speaking from emptiness instead of fullness. I could no longer give without losing myself. To protect your energy is not to retreat from life, but to live it wisely. You become selective not from judgment, but from discernment, like a gardener pruning not to harm the plant, but to let it flourish. Saying no is pruning. Resting is watering. Silence is sunlight. Here's a practice this week. Notice one situation that consistently drains you, perhaps a toxic conversation, a digital distraction, or a pattern of overcommitment. Instead of reacting, pause and say gently, "I'll revisit this when I feel centered." It's not avoidance, it's maturity. You are giving yourself permission to respond from peace, not pressure. Over time, you'll discover that boundaries don't isolate you, they clarify you. You'll attract people and experiences that match your peace, not your exhaustion. You'll move through the world lighter because you no longer carry what isn't yours. In Buddhist meditation, the breath itself is a boundary. You breathe in what nourishes you. Breathe out what no longer serves. Each inhale is a yes to life. Each exhale, a graceful no to everything that burdens it. Your boundaries, like your breath, sustain your rhythm. And when guilt creeps in, as it will remember, the Buddha left his palace not because he stopped caring for others, but because he began caring for truth. You are not unkind for protecting your peace. You are wise. Only from a full cup can you offer tea that warms others. Only from a clear mind can you speak words that heal. So let your boundary be a blessing. Guard your flame not from fear, but from love. The world needs your light, but first, you must keep it burning. There is a power more disarming than words, a silence that holds the weight of mountains. In a world addicted to noise, to opinions, to endless reaction, silence has become the rarest form of strength. The Buddha understood this. When insulted, accused, or provoked, he did not defend himself. He did not argue, justify, or retaliate. He simply smiled, a gesture not of superiority, but of understanding. He knew that anger only belongs to those who carry it. Once a man came to the Buddha filled with rage, shouting insults and curses. The Buddha sat unmoved. Finally exhausted, the man demanded, "Why do you not answer me?" The Buddha said, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong? To the one who offered it?" The man replied. Then said the Buddha, "So it is with your anger." In that moment, centuries of human conflict were reduced to a single truth: what you do not accept cannot harm you. Silence in its highest form is not suppression, it is sovereignty. It is the refusal to let others' chaos dictate the rhythm of your inner world. Most people misunderstand silence as weakness, but it is in silence that wisdom ripens. When you are silent, you observe more deeply, feel more subtly, and act more skillfully. Picture a still lake in the heart of a forest. A stone is thrown into it. Ripples appear, but the lake does not chase the stone. It lets the disturbance expand, dissolve, and disappear. That lake is the awakened mind. Insults, judgments, provocations, they are only stones. Let them sink. Do not dive after them. The modern world, however, thrives on reaction. Social media debates, arguments, all are fueled by the need to have the last word. But silence breaks the cycle. When you respond with silence, you deny the drama its oxygen. You invite others to meet themselves in the echo of their own words. The storm spends itself against your calm, and in doing so, it weakens. A Zen saying tells us, "The great way is not difficult. It only asks that we cease having opinions." This doesn't mean you stop caring or thinking. It means you stop being owned by your opinions. You can hold views, lightly speak them with clarity, but never let them become cages. Silence teaches this humility. Try this practice for one day. Choose not to react to negativity. When someone criticizes, listen without defending. When gossip arises, stay quiet. When anger tries to lure you, take one slow breath and say inwardly, "Let it pass." Notice what happens. At first, the ego protests. It wants to correct, to prove, to shout. But I'm right. Let that voice speak and fade. The silence beneath it is your true self, vast, peaceful, unassailable. In the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu writes, "Silence is the source of great strength." Why? Because silence connects you to reality unfiltered. Words often distort. They divide the world into mine and yours, good and bad. But in silence, all distinctions fade. What remains is pure awareness, the ground beneath every label. Consider the sound of wind through bamboo. It whispers, yet says nothing. Still, its message is clear, everything passes. Words argue about truth. Silence embodies it. There's an ancient parable of a teacher who was once mocked by his student for remaining silent after being insulted. The student sneered, "Are you too proud to speak?" The teacher replied softly, "If a dog barks at you, do you bark back?" The student blushed, realizing that silence was not pride, it was mastery. Silence, however, is not always external. Inner silence, the quieting of thought, is even more vital. The Buddha called this noble silence. It is the stillness where insight arises naturally, like a lotus opening at dawn. When the chatter of the mind softens, understanding flows like water. Next time someone provokes you, imagine your mind as a wide sky. Their words are clouds, temporary passing. You don't need to push them away. You simply let them drift. The sky loses nothing. Silence is also the language of compassion. When someone suffers often, the most healing thing you can offer is not advice, but presence. To sit beside them in quiet empathy says, "You are not alone." Words might comfort for a moment, but silence communicates something deeper, shared humanity. You can even bring silence into your daily life. Begin your mornings with 2 minutes of deliberate stillness before touching your phone or speaking. Let the silence greet you. Let it set the tone. In that pause, you anchor yourself before the world begins to tug. And in the heat of conflict, remember, not every fire deserves your oxygen. You can extinguish most flames simply by refusing to blow on them. Responding to provocation is easy. Staying silent is divine. One day your silence will speak for you. It will announce that you are no longer available for chaos, that your peace is not up for negotiation. People will notice not your words, but your energy. They'll sense the strength of someone who no longer needs to react. So the next time the world demands your noise, offer your stillness. When someone throws anger, your way smile as the Buddha did, and let the gift return to its sender. The power you save will transform into peace, and that peace will radiate far beyond the reach of any insult. Remember, silence is not emptiness. It is fullness unspoken. There are moments in life when everything seems to conspire against you. A harsh word from a loved one, a betrayal, a plan falling apart, a dream that slips through your fingers just when you thought you'd grasped it. The mind rushes to name these moments: bad luck, injustice, failure. But what if nothing that happens to you is meant to harm you? What if every difficulty is a teacher in disguise, waiting for you to see it clearly? Once a weary traveler reached a village where the people were cold and suspicious. They whispered behind his back, insulted him, even mocked his clothes. The traveler felt anger rising like fire, but as he looked closer, he noticed something. Their faces were not cruel. They were frightened. They had never seen an outsider before. Instead of reacting, he smiled, bowed, and offered them food from his pack. Days later, those same villagers welcomed him with warmth and gratitude. What changed? Not them, him. He stopped seeing hostility and began seeing fear. His perspective shifted, and the world responded in kind. The Buddha taught that the mind creates the world. This isn't magic, it's perception. The same rain that ruins one man's picnic nourishes another man's field. The same silence one person calls loneliness, another calls peace. The difference isn't in the world, it's in the way we frame it. To reframe is to reclaim your power. When you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" you shift from victim to student, from resentment to wisdom. Every event, every disappointment carries a lesson folded inside it like a seed inside a fruit. Your job is not to curse the fruit for being bitter, but to find the seed and plant it. Think of your life as a vast tapestry. Up close, all you see are tangled threads, dark knots, uneven colors. But step back, and suddenly, the pattern emerges. The mistakes, the heartbreaks, the detours, they weren't chaos at all. They were design. Perspective transforms confusion into clarity. In the Dhammapada, it is written, "With our thoughts, we make the world." Every moment you are painting reality with the colors of your perception. When anger colors your brush, the world appears hostile. When gratitude guides your hand, beauty reappears even in hardship. You cannot always change what happens, but you can always choose how to see it. A student once asked his master, "Why do painful things keep happening to me?" The master replied, "Because you keep calling them painful instead of calling them teachers." The student frowned. "Then why do they hurt so much?" The master smiled, "Because you have not yet learned their language." Pain is a language subtle but precise. It speaks in lessons of impermanence, humility, and patience. It says, everything changes. You cannot hold forever. Let go and flow. When you fight this truth, suffering grows. When you listen, wisdom blooms. Try this simple practice. When something frustrates you, a delay, a rejection, an argument, pause and ask, what is this moment trying to show me? Perhaps patience, perhaps self-respect, perhaps detachment. Once you name the lesson, the pain begins to soften. It no longer feels like punishment. It feels like preparation. Reframing is not pretending everything is perfect. It's choosing to see beyond appearances. It's realizing that life does not happen to you. It happens for you. Even the thorns serve a purpose. They protect the rose. There's an old story about a farmer whose horse ran away. The neighbors said, "What bad luck?" The farmer simply replied, "Maybe." A week later, the horse returned with 2 wild horses. The neighbors exclaimed, "What good luck?" Again, the farmer said, "Maybe." His son tried to tame one of the horses and broke his leg. "Terrible luck," they said. Maybe the farmer answered once more. Soon after, soldiers came to recruit young men for war, but the injured son was spared. Good, bad, right, wrong. These are labels we paste on moments too early. Only time reveals their true nature. What hurts today may save you tomorrow. What you lose today may clear space for what you're meant to receive. If you can train the mind to pause before labeling you, enter freedom. Freedom not from pain, but from unnecessary suffering. You become like the moon reflected on water, undisturbed even when the water ripples. Here's a modern reflection. Imagine being stuck in traffic. The instinct is irritation. But what if that delay saves you from an unseen accident ahead? You'll never know. Life is full of unseen mercies. The practice of reframing is simply the practice of trusting the unseen. When the heart learns to see difficulty as dharma, every setback becomes sacred. You begin to live with curiosity instead of complaint. You start asking, what is the universe rearranging for me right now? The mind trained in gratitude finds gifts everywhere. The failed relationship taught self-worth. The missed opportunity revealed patience. The illness awakened compassion. The insult tested your humility. Suddenly, nothing is wasted. Nothing is meaningless. Write this truth where you can see it daily. This too is part of the path. Because it is, all of it. The laughter, the loss, the waiting, the wonder. Every moment is a teacher, every experience a mirror, every hardship a sculptor shaping you into clarity. You do not need a perfect life to find peace. You need only to see life perfectly as it is. When you stop fighting the storm and start learning its rhythm, you discover something miraculous. The wind that once knocked you down now lifts your wings. The Buddha did not promise an easy life. He promised liberation through understanding. Reframing is that understanding in motion. It's the quiet realization that nothing in this vast, unpredictable world is wasted on those who are awake. So when the next wave of frustration comes, do not drown in it. Stand in the water and whisper, "Teach me." And you will see the tide that once frightened you will begin to carry you home. There is a warrior who lives in each of us, not one who fights with swords or words, but one who battles within against the storm of emotion. that tries to control the mind. The ancient masters called this the true war, the only war worth winning. And among all the foes that arise on this battlefield, anger, fear, envy, grief, the most subtle opponent is the mind itself, because the mind can be both your greatest weapon and your most dangerous master. A young warrior once came to a Zen teacher exhausted from endless conflict. "Master," he said, "I've trained my body, sharpened my sword, and yet I am always defeated by my emotions. How do I conquer them?" The master handed him a blade and said, "Sharpen this every day, but never use it in battle." Confused, the warrior did as instructed. Each day he honed the blade until it gleamed. Months passed. One day, insulted by another soldier, the warrior felt anger surge through him. But before speaking, he remembered the unused sword, sharp yet still. In that moment, he understood, mastery is not control over others, it is command of oneself. Emotional mastery is not suppression, it is transformation. It is the difference between fire that destroys and fire that warms, between the wave that drowns and the wave you learn to ride. The Buddha once said, "Happiness and suffering are your own creations. Take responsibility." These words are not blame, they are empowerment. They mean that the key to peace has never been in another's hand. It has always been in yours. Emotions are energy. They are movement, motion, life. Anger is energy. Sadness is energy. Love is energy. The question is, will you let that energy consume you or refine you? The alchemy of Buddhism is learning to turn emotion into insight. Think of a blacksmith at his forge. He does not fear the fire, he uses it to shape metal. So too, a mindful person does not fear emotion. They stand before it breathing steadily, shaping it into awareness. Anger becomes clarity about boundaries. Fear becomes humility before uncertainty. Sadness becomes compassion for the suffering of all beings. Here's a simple practice at the end of each day. Recall one emotional moment that disturbed you. Write it down in detail. Ask 3 questions. What was I feeling? What story did I tell myself about it? What did I do next? This practice turns raw reaction into conscious reflection. When you name the emotion, it loses its power to possess you. At first, you'll discover patterns. Perhaps certain words always trigger you, certain tones, certain memories. But gradually you'll see that emotion is not your enemy. It's your teacher, constantly pointing you toward where you are still unhealed. The mind wants to conquer emotion. The heart wants to understand it. Emotional mastery begins when you let the heart lead. There's a story from Tibet of a monk named Dorje, who spent years meditating alone in the mountains. When asked how he maintained such calm in isolation, he said, "Because I've befriended every emotion." He described anger as a tiger, fierce, unpredictable, and said that instead of running, he learned to sit beside it. When you stop running, Dorje said you realize the tiger was never here to devour you. It was here to protect your boundaries. This is emotional maturity, not denial, but dialogue. Listening to emotion without obeying it. You are not meant to exile your feelings. You are meant to illuminate them with awareness. The Buddha did not eliminate emotion. He liberated it from ignorance. Think of an ocean. Waves rise and crash, joy, sorrow, fear, excitement. But the depth remains still. That depth is your awareness. You are not the waves. You are the ocean itself. When you remember this, emotion becomes movement within you, not chaos against you. The next time anger visits, don't resist it and don't indulge it. Simply say, "Ah, this is anger." Then breathe and feel its texture, the heat, the pulse, the restlessness. Observe it as you would watch a flame. No judgment, no justification. You'll notice something miraculous the more fully you observe emotion, the more it transforms into space. What once consumed you now reveals you. Mastery in truth is not about never feeling. It is about never being lost in feeling. You still experience storms, but you no longer mistake them for identity. You begin to live from the quiet place beneath all movement, the place where joy and pain are both visitors. Here's another daily ritual before sleep. Place one hand over your heart and one over your stomach. Whisper to yourself, "Today I felt," and name it: frustration, joy, sadness, peace. Then add, "And that's okay." Acceptance is the soil where transformation grows. You do not need to be perfect to be at peace. You only need to be present. There's a saying among monks: the mind is like a garden. Emotions are the weather. You can't control the rain, but you can choose what to plant. When anger reigns, plant patience. When fear winds blow, plant trust. When grief clouds gather, plant compassion. Over time, your garden becomes resilient. Emotional mastery is a lifetime's practice, not a single victory. Some days you will slip, react, lash out, regret. That's okay. Every moment of awareness that follows is progress. The true master is not one who never falls, but one who sees each fall as part of awakening. Remember this truth: you cannot calm the storm, but you can stop it from entering you. The world will always swirl, but inside you can remain vast, still aware. That is liberation. The journey of mastery does not end in control. It ends in surrender, the surrender of resistance, of identification, of the need to dominate your own heart. When you let emotions flow without fear, you realize they were never chains, only waves guiding you back to the shore of yourself. And when you stand there breathing deeply, watching the tide move in and out, you'll smile. Not because life stopped being chaotic, but because you have stopped being shaken. The ocean moves, but the depths remain still, and so do you. Nothing in life lasts forever, not the joy that lifts your heart, not the sorrow that bends your knees. This truth, so simple and yet so profound, is the quiet river that runs through every teaching of the Buddha. It is the pulse beneath the Dharma, the rhythm of the universe itself. Everything changes, and because everything changes, everything is possible. But our suffering begins when we forget this, when we cling to what cannot stay, when we chase what is already past, when we resist the current of impermanence that carries all things. The Buddha called this tanha, craving the thirst to make the transient permanent. We want the flower to bloom forever, the love to stay unchanged, the body to remain young, the people we cherish to never leave. Yet the petals fall, the seasons turn, and the more we hold on, the more the hands bleed. There is a parable from Tibet about a monk who spent months creating a mandala of colored sand, a dazzling universe of patterns so intricate it seemed impossible that it could ever be destroyed. When the final grain was placed, the entire monastery gathered to admire its beauty. Then, without hesitation, the monk took a single breath and swept his palm across it, scattering the sand back into emptiness. The crowd gasped, but the monk smiled. "Nothing is lost," he said. "It has simply returned to what it always was." This is the essence of impermanence, not despair, but liberation. When you truly understand that everything you love is passing, you stop clutching and start cherishing. You see the fragility of each sunrise, each smile, each shared meal, and you whisper thank you instead of stay forever. Impermanence makes life precious. It transforms ordinary moments into sacred offerings. and yet how we struggle. We call endings unfair change, inconvenient loss, unbearable. We think if we resist enough, we can outwit time. But life is a river, and resistance only exhausts the swimmer. Surrender is not defeat, it's learning to float. There's a story of a woman who came to the Buddha, weeping over the death of her only child. "Please, Lord, bring him back," she begged. The Buddha told her to bring a mustard seed from a home untouched by death. She searched every house in the village. Each door she knocked on opened to a story of loss: a mother, a father, a friend, a child. At last, she returned, not with a mustard seed, but with understanding. "I see now," she said, "that death is not mine alone." And in that realization, her grief softened into compassion. You see, impermanence is not cruelty. It is the way life renews itself. The leaves must fall for the tree to grow again. The tide must recede for the shore to breathe. What ends creates the space for what begins. The great Zen poet Ryokan once wrote, "The thief left it behind the moon at my window. When he returned to his hut to find his belongings stolen, he felt no anger, only gratitude. Even in loss, beauty remained. Even stripped of possessions, he had the moonlight, something no thief could take." So how do we live with this truth? Not by closing our hearts, but by opening them wider. To love deeply knowing it will change. To give freely knowing it will pass. To grieve fully, knowing that grief too is impermanent. Every feeling, no matter how heavy, eventually melts back into silence. Practice this awareness gently in your daily life. When you sip your morning tea, notice the warmth fading, the taste dissolving the moment, vanishing as soon as it arrives. Don't rush to refill the cup. Instead, honor the disappearance. When someone you love walks away, bless their path. When success fades, bow to it as it leaves. When pain arises, whisper, "This too shall pass." These 4 words contain an entire universe of peace. Impermanence also means that you are not trapped. No matter what burden you carry, it will not last. The mind that tortures you today will quiet tomorrow. The wound that aches tonight will one day become a scar, and the scar will become a story, and the story will become wisdom. Even suffering is temporary. It only stays as long as you hold on to it. You can see impermanence not as an enemy, but as your greatest ally. It is impermanence that heals, that forgives, that allows new life to grow where old life has withered. Without change, no seed could sprout, no heart could open, no mind could awaken. Remember this: the pain you feel right now is not forever. The storm raging within you will pass, as every storm does. You need only to wait with awareness, like a mountain waiting for the clouds to clear. The sky behind them has never changed. Every sunset carries the promise of dawn. Every death carries the seed of rebirth. The Buddha taught that all conditioned things are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, or shadows, fleeting but radiant while they last. So live not by clinging, but by touching gently. Love without fear, let go without bitterness, grieve without despair. That is the path of awakening. Here is a small meditation. Close your eyes and imagine a single leaf drifting down a stream. Follow it as it moves, twisting, turning, vanishing beyond sight. Whisper to yourself, "Like this leaf, everything flows." Feel your breath as part of that same movement, in, out, appearing, disappearing. When you live this way, change no longer frightens you. It frees you. Impermanence is not a curse. It is a song, the melody of existence itself. You do not need to control it. You only need to listen. And when you do, you'll realize that nothing truly dies. it only transforms. The people you loved, the moments you lost, the versions of yourself you've shed, all have dissolved back into the same vast ocean of being. One day, you too will return to that ocean, not as punishment, but as completion. The drop will merge with the sea, and the sea will remember itself in you. That is not the end, it is home. So breathe, release, trust. The river knows where it's going. Somewhere between breath and silence, between holding on and letting go, lies the place we all long for, a peace that does not depend on circumstance. It is not the peace of a perfect life or a quiet world, but the peace that hums beneath the noise that endures, even when everything else falls away. The Buddha called this peace nirvana, but you don't have to be a monk or a mystic to taste it. It reveals itself every time you stop fighting what is. We spend most of our lives bargaining with reality. We say, I'll be happy when this changes, when they apologize, when I succeed, when I'm loved the way I deserve. But the truth is, happiness cannot be postponed until the world cooperates, because the world never holds still. The winds of gain and loss, praise and blame, pleasure and pain, they blow endlessly. You can't stop the wind, but you can learn to sail. The Buddha once said that inner peace comes not from changing the world, but from changing how we relate to it. Most people try to rearrange circumstances. The wise rearrange their perception. The outer storm may rage, but they remain calm because their anchor is inward. There's a story about a king who longed for peace. He built grand gardens, summoned musicians, commanded silence in his palace, but still his heart was restless. One day, he met a monk sitting under a tree, smiling as a storm thundered overhead. The king asked, "How can you be peaceful in such chaos?" The monk opened his eyes and replied, "Because the storm is only outside. That is the secret. Peace is not the absence of noise, but the absence of resistance. The world will always move. People will always change. Life will always surprise. Peace begins the moment you stop insisting it should be otherwise. When anger arises, instead of saying, 'This shouldn't be happening,' try whispering, 'This too belongs.' When sorrow comes, let it sit beside you without shame. When joy visits, receive it without fear of its leaving. To resist nothing is to suffer nothing. But peace does not mean passivity. It means presence. You still act, speak, create, protect, but from a place of clarity, not chaos. Imagine an archer drawing his bow. If his hand trembles, the arrow wobbles. If his mind is steady, it flies true. Your actions are arrows. Without inner steadiness, even good intentions miss their mark. Practice this steadiness in small ways. When you wake in the morning, before reaching for your phone, take 3 breaths and feel the ground beneath your feet. Tell yourself, "I meet this day as it is not as I wish it to be." Throughout the day, whenever irritation stirs, pause and bring attention to your breath. The rise and fall, a reminder that everything is already flowing in perfect rhythm. There is a line in the Dhammapada: "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." You can live your entire life chasing recognition, achievement, pleasure, yet none of it equals one moment of true stillness. When the mind quiets, the heart remembers its natural rhythm. You stop grasping for peace because you realize you already are peace. Think of a candle in a dark room. It doesn't fight the darkness, it simply shines. The candle's light doesn't argue, doesn't demand, doesn't fear being extinguished. It just burns quietly, faithfully. That light is your awareness. The darkness is life's uncertainty. You don't need to chase away every shadow. you need only to remain lit. In meditation, you can observe how peace is always available underneath the turbulence. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and listen not for sounds, but for the space between them, not for thoughts, but for the silence they rise from. That silence is not empty. It is full of life vibrating with calm energy. When you rest there even for a few breaths, you touch the infinite. The more you practice, the less you depend on external calm to feel internal calm. You could be in traffic at work in conflict, yet still find that quiet place within the same way a mountain remains still while winds roar around it. There is a saying from the Zen tradition: sitting quietly doing nothing. Spring comes and the grass grows by itself. Peace is not something you manufacture. It's something you uncover by stopping the struggle. Like muddy water that clears when left alone, the mind becomes tranquil when you stop stirring it with fear and desire. Let's try a simple reflection right now. Close your eyes for a moment. Notice your breath. Feel your heartbeat. Realize that without your effort, life is breathing you. The earth spins, the sun rises, the heart beats without your command. You are held by something vast, something steady. You do not need to force life to happen. It already is. In that knowing, peace unfolds. Peace is not a luxury. It is your nature. It's what remains when the noise subsides. Even grief, when allowed to be fully felt, has peace at its core. It's the still ache of love that knows everything changes, but nothing is truly lost. The Buddha did not promise a life free of pain. He offered a way to suffer wisely, to let pain open the heart instead of harden it, to meet the world not with armor, but with awareness. And when awareness becomes your shield, nothing can wound you deeply, because you understand all things rise, all things pass, and what you truly are is beyond both. So today, let go of the need to fix, to argue, to control. Instead, breathe and allow. When you release resistance, life reveals its natural harmony. The storm outside becomes the rhythm of your meditation. The chaos becomes the teacher of your stillness. The peace you seek is already within you. Stop searching, and you will hear it, the soft hum beneath every heartbeat, the quiet truth behind every thought. You are the calm you've been chasing. When the Buddha was asked, "What is the greatest victory?" he answered, "To conquer yourself. Not to conquer nations, nor arguments, nor wealth, but to understand and master the small battlefield within the restless thoughts, the repeating fears, the endless hunger of the ego. Because until you master the inner world, the outer world will always master you." We often imagine enemies as external, the critic, the competitor, the circumstance, but the real enemy wears our face. It is the mind that refuses rest, the heart that clings, the voice that whispers, "I'll be enough when." That voice builds a prison more invisible than iron. It convinces you that peace is somewhere else in the future, in another person, in a better version of yourself. But peace is never there. It is here underneath the noise, waiting for you to stop running. There is an old story of two wolves that live inside each person. One is fear, anger, jealousy, and greed. The other is love, compassion, peace, and wisdom. They are always fighting. When a child asked, "Which wolf wins?" the elder replied, "The one you feed." Every thought, every reaction, every choice feeds one of the wolves. When you indulge resentment, you feed the dark. When you breathe through pain, you feed the light. It's that simple and that difficult. To conquer yourself is to feed the right wolf, moment by moment. Imagine standing before a mirror. You see your reflection scowling, frowning, unhappy. You might try to fix the reflection to wipe away its sadness, to force it to smile, but the only way to change the reflection is to change yourself. Life is the mirror, and your state of mind is what it reflects. If you're filled with complaint, the world will seem unkind. If you're filled with gratitude, the world will appear generous. The mirror always answers truthfully, yet most people live like sculptors, trying to reshape their reflections instead of their reality. They shout at the mirror, polish the glass, curse the light, never realizing that the image will not change until they do. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering is not the world, but the craving mind, the mind that always wants things to be other than they are. When you release that craving, even for a breath, a miracle happens. You find contentment right in the middle of imperfection. Self-mastery is not the annihilation of desire, it's the understanding of desire. It's knowing that craving is natural, but clinging is suffering. You can want something without worshiping it. You can love someone without possessing them. You can strive without losing yourself in striving. There is a passage in the Majjhima Nikaya where a disciple asked the Buddha Master, "How do we find freedom?" And the Buddha said, "By understanding the mind, by observing it without judgment." That's all. Just observation, the most radical act of liberation. Because when you observe the mind, you see its tricks. You see how a single thought can grow into a storm if you let it. You see how stories repeat, how emotions recycle, how fear disguises itself as logic. And the more you see, the less you believe. You begin to smile at your thoughts instead of obeying them. Try this simple exercise. When the mind starts to spiral, "They shouldn't have done that. I'm not enough. What if it all fails?" Pause and say softly, "Ah, a story is arising." Breathe once. Watch it. Do nothing. The story will pass as all clouds pass. Each time you do this, you reclaim a small piece of freedom. Over time, those pieces become your peace. To conquer yourself means learning the art of gentle discipline, not harsh control, but loving awareness. Imagine training a wild horse. If you pull too hard, it panics. If you hold too loosely, it bolts. You must walk beside it, patient, calm, steady. The mind is that horse. You guide it with compassion, not force. In modern life, this practice is more vital than ever. Distractions flood the senses, notifications, headlines, endless comparisons. Each one tugs at the mind like a hook. To live consciously today is an act of rebellion. Every time you put down your phone, take a slow breath, or choose gratitude over gossip, you're reclaiming sovereignty over your own attention. That's what self-conquest looks like in this age presence. Remember, mastery doesn't mean never falling. It means noticing the fall sooner and rising faster. The master and the beginner both stumble. The difference is awareness. The master smiles at their own mistake and learns. The beginner curses it and repeats it. When you truly begin to see yourself, the impulses, the fears, the desires, the attachments, you start to understand everyone else too. Compassion flows naturally from self-knowledge. How could you hate others when you've seen the same confusion in your own heart? How could you judge them when you know how hard it is to wake up in this human dream? There's a saying, when you realize you are your own worst enemy, you stop making enemies. Because once you make peace with yourself, the world stops being at war with you. Before you sleep tonight, take a quiet moment. Place your hand over your chest and whisper, "I forgive myself for the times I forgot who I am." Then breathe deeply and add, "Tomorrow I will feed the right wolf." This simple act resets the compass of your mind toward kindness. Every sunrise gives you another chance to practice mastery. You don't need a monastery or a mountain, just the willingness to be awake in ordinary moments. While washing dishes, while walking, while speaking, watch the mind. Gently bring it back to the breath again and again until awareness becomes your natural state. The Buddha's last words were simple. All compounded things decay. Strive with diligence. In those words lies the essence of mastery, not perfection, but practice. Keep walking, keep observing, keep remembering. Because one day, without realizing when it happened, you will look within and find that the war is over. The battlefield is silent. The two wolves lie side by side, and the mind that once ruled you now serves you. That is victory. Not over the world, over yourself. Every human heart carries a quiet longing, the desire to be free. Not free in the way the world defines it. Not freedom of money or movement, but freedom from the weight we carry inside. The worry, the regret, the endless thinking that never lets us rest. We want to breathe without fear, to love without attachment, to walk through life without the invisible chains of what if and if only. The Buddha called this liberation vimutti, the release from suffering born of understanding, not escape. True freedom is not about having everything go your way. It's about being at peace even when it doesn't. It is not running away from pain, but no longer being enslaved by it. Freedom is not a place, it's a state of being. It begins when you stop arguing with reality. Most people live in a cage built from two illusions: control and permanence. We think we can control how others act, how the future unfolds, how long good things last. We cling to stability as though life owes it to us. But control is a mirage. The tighter we grip, the more life slips through our fingers. And permanence, it's a dream. Even the stars burn out. The wise stop trying to freeze time and learn instead to dance with it. A Zen teacher once told his student, "The bird in the cage sings of freedom, but the bird in the sky does not sing. It is freedom." The difference is subtle but vast. The caged mind thinks about peace, reads about peace, prays for peace. The liberated mind lives peace even amid chaos. But how do we reach that? How do we become the bird in the sky? By seeing the bars of our own cage, the bars of craving judgment, resistance, and fear, and gently, patiently opening them one by one. Every bar is a thought we mistake for truth. I can't be happy unless they should have treated me differently. I'll feel safe when. Each time we question these beliefs, we loosen a bar. Each time we breathe instead of react, we step closer to the open door. There's a story from Thailand about a monk who meditated beside a waterfall. One day, a traveler stopped and said, "How can you sit in such noise?" The monk smiled. What noise? He had listened for so long that the sound of the waterfall had become silence. That is liberation, not the absence of sound, but the absence of disturbance. You don't escape the world, you transcend it. Freedom, then, is not found by running away from life, but by entering it fully without being owned by it. When you eat, simply eat. When you walk, simply walk. When you hurt, simply hurt. Don't add the extra layer of resistance, the mental commentary that says, "This shouldn't be happening." When you remove the story, suffering dissolves and only pure experience remains. Try this practice. Choose one small act in your day: drinking tea, washing your hands, listening to rain, and give it your entire attention. Feel the warmth of the cup, the scent of the tea, the movement of your breath. In that moment, the mind stops wandering between past and future. You have stepped out of time. You are free. People often believe that freedom means doing whatever they want, but the Buddha taught that such freedom quickly becomes bondage, the bondage of craving, addiction, and restlessness. True freedom is doing what is needed, not what is merely desired. It is living from clarity, not compulsion. You can test this truth easily when you act from craving, you feel tight. When you act from wisdom, you feel light. Freedom has a texture. It feels like spaciousness. You can breathe again. There's no grasping, no pushing, just presence. It is said that enlightenment is like dropping a heavy bag you didn't realize you were carrying. Suddenly, everything feels lighter, not because the world changed, but because you stopped dragging your past and your expectations everywhere you go. Imagine walking through your day without replaying yesterday's mistakes or rehearsing tomorrow's worries. Just here, just now. That is freedom. A master once pointed to a flowing river and said to his disciple, "See how it moves yet never clings to any shape. That is how the awakened one lives, fluid, responsive, unattached." The disciple asked, "But what if the current carries me somewhere I don't wish to go?" The master smiled. "Then that too is part of the way." When you trust the flow, even uncertainty becomes a friend. You realize that life doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. You are not the swimmer fighting the current. You are the current itself. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop demanding freedom, you find it. Because the demand itself is another chain, the belief that you are not already free. Look deeply right now. Nothing binds you except thought. And thoughts have no substance. They are clouds passing through a vast sky. The sky never tries to catch them. So breathe. Let the clouds drift. Feel the expanse behind them. That spacious awareness, untouched, infinite, is what you truly are. No one can imprison that. Freedom doesn't mean life becomes easy. It means even difficulty loses its power to enslave you. You can feel pain without becoming pain. You can face endings without despair. You can move through change without losing your center. The Buddha's smile wasn't denial, it was recognition. He saw the play of life for what it is, beautiful, fleeting, ungraspable. And in seeing it clearly, he was free. You don't need to reach nirvana to begin living like that. You only need to remember in each moment of tension, I am not my fear. I am not this thought. I am the space in which they arise. So walk lightly, love deeply, let go often. Every breath is a small liberation, a letting go of the last one, a welcoming of the next. When you live like this, freedom is no longer a destination. It is the way you move through the world, open, effortless, awake. If you listen carefully, you'll notice that most of our suffering comes not from what happens, but from the stories we tell ourselves about what happens. The event itself is just a spark. The story is the wildfire. Someone forgets to reply to a message, and the mind spins. They don't care. I'm not important. A stranger's glance becomes rejection. A small mistake turns into a self-condemnation. The Buddha taught that our thoughts are like monkeys leaping from branch to branch, never still, rarely kind. The path to peace begins not by silencing the monkeys, but by watching them until they grow tired of performing. There's an old Zen parable about a monk who dreamed he was a butterfly fluttering freely through the sky. When he woke, he wondered, was I a man dreaming I was a butterfly, or am I now a butterfly, dreaming I am a man? The question is not about insects or dreams. It's about perception. The mind paints reality, and we live inside its paintings, mistaking imagination for truth. To awaken is to step outside the frame. Watch how the mind weaves stories. It loves to assign meaning. This is good. That is bad. I am right. They are wrong. Yet life itself has no labels. A flower blooms. A leaf falls. Meaning is the mind's embroidery over the naked fabric of reality. When we remove the embroidery, what remains is simple, direct, peaceful. Try this when something triggers you. Pause before naming it. Don't call it bad, unfair, or unlucky. Simply say, "This is happening." That phrase, "This is happening," is a doorway to presence. It stops the spiral of commentary and returns you to experience itself. In that moment, suffering softens. The Buddha compared this awareness to standing by a river. Thoughts and emotions are the water flowing constantly. You can reach in and be swept away, or you can stand on the bank and observe. The water still moves, but you remain unmoved. Every time you remember, "I am the watcher, not the wave," you take one step closer to freedom. There is a story from China about a farmer whose horse ran away. His neighbors cried, "Such bad luck." The farmer simply said, "We'll see." Days later, the horse returned, bringing 3 wild horses with it. "What good fortune," they said. Again, the farmer replied, "We'll see." Soon after, his son broke his leg while taming one of them. "Terrible," said the neighbors. "We'll see," said the farmer. A week later, soldiers arrived to recruit all able-bodied young men for war. The injured son was spared. Life is like that, always unfolding beyond our judgments. What we call good or bad is just a snapshot of a much larger story we cannot yet see. Peace begins when you stop demanding that life reveal its meaning before it's ready. A great teacher once said, "The mind makes a drama out of everything it touches." Observe this gently. Notice how a single word, a single delay, can spark hours of internal dialogue. You argue with people who aren't there. Defend yourself against accusations, never spoken. Rehearse victories. No one will applaud. Meanwhile, the moment in front of you, the actual living moment, passes unnoticed. Awareness is the art of returning. Returning from thought to breath, from judgment to observation, from story to stillness. It's not that thoughts are wrong, they're just incomplete. They describe the world the way clouds describe the sky, beautifully, but temporarily. The sky is still there when the clouds drift by. You are still there when thoughts drift by. The mind will ask, "How do I stop overthinking?" You cannot stop thought by force. The more you resist it, the louder it becomes. Instead, give it space. Sit quietly and let thoughts rise and fall without chasing them. Eventually, they lose interest in you. Stillness is not something you create. It's what remains when thought grows quiet on its own. In meditation, this becomes clear. You sit. Thoughts appear, some soft, some stormy, yet beneath them, there is a silence untouched by any of them. That silence is not absence. It's awareness itself. Once you taste that silence, you realize it's always there, even in the busiest day. You just forget to listen. Here's a practice for daily life. When caught in mental noise, gently ask, "What is true right now?" before the story. You might notice only the hum of the refrigerator, the rise of your breath, the feeling of the chair beneath you. That's truth. Simple, immediate, undeniable. Everything else is narrative. A monk once said, "The more you believe your thoughts, the further you are from peace." Don't believe everything you think. Thoughts are visitors, not verdicts. They are weather passing through the vast sky of consciousness. You don't need to argue with them. You only need to stop confusing them with reality. When you start observing your thoughts instead of obeying them, something miraculous happens. the stories begin to rewrite themselves. Judgment turns into curiosity. Fear turns into clarity. The world doesn't change, but your seeing does, and that changes everything. Imagine walking through a forest. The path twists, shadows, flicker sounds echo. At first you're tense, imagining danger behind every tree. Then you pause, take a breath, and realize the forest is just alive, not threatening. The same path, but a different experience. The forest didn't change. You did. That is the power of awareness, to transform fear into fascination, resistance into reverence. When you stop narrating life and start experiencing it, you see that reality itself has no edge, no enemy, no agenda. It simply flows. Every story the mind creates about who you are, what you've lost, what you deserve, is just a ripple. Awareness is the ocean. You are that ocean, vast enough to hold every wave without being disturbed by any. So next time the mind begins its endless commentary, smile softly and say, "Ah, another story." Then breathe and return to what is real. The warmth of the sun, the sound of your breath, the stillness that has been here all along. And slowly, you'll discover the greatest secret. Peace was never hidden in the world. It was only hidden beneath your thinking about it. Every person you meet is fighting an invisible battle. Some battles are loud grief spilling through words, anger erupting into action. Others are silent smiles worn like masks, hearts cracking quietly beneath the surface. If you could see the private pain behind even a stranger's eyes, you would find it impossible to judge them. This is the beginning of compassion, not pity, not superiority, but understanding. To see that suffering is not personal, it is universal. The Buddha once said, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love." This is the eternal law. Those words are not poetry, they are medicine. Anger multiplies when returned. It dissolves when met with empathy. Yet compassion does not mean letting others walk over you. It means seeing clearly without losing your tenderness. It is strength with an open heart. There's a story of a monk who lived in a small village. Each morning he walked to the river to collect water. One day, he found a scorpion drowning in the current. Without hesitation, he reached in to save it. The scorpion stung him. He dropped it in pain, but moments later he tried again and was stung once more. A passerby shouted, "Why help something that hurts you?" The monk smiled, holding the trembling creature in his palm. "Because it is the scorpion's nature to sting," he said, "and it is my nature to save." Compassion means acting from your own nature, not in reaction to another's. The scorpion's sting did not change the monk's kindness. The monk's compassion was stronger than the pain. This is what the Buddha called metta loving kindness, a love that does not depend on being loved back. In our world today, this kind of compassion is radical. We are taught to protect, defend, and prove not to understand. But if we look deeply, we'll see that even the one who harms is acting from pain. Anger is a shield for fear. Cruelty is a disguise for weakness. When you can see the suffering behind someone's actions, your heart softens not out of naivety, but out of wisdom. You realize that punishment cannot heal pain. Only understanding can. Compassion, however, begins at home. You cannot offer to others what you deny yourself. Many people practice kindness outwardly while being merciless toward themselves inside. They forgive everyone except the person in the mirror. But the Buddha's path is circular. Compassion for self becomes compassion for all, and compassion for all deepens compassion for self. Try this practice. When you make a mistake, instead of the usual storm of blame, place a hand on your heart and whisper, "I am human," and this too is part of my path. Feel the warmth beneath your palm. Imagine saying those same words to a friend who is suffering. Offer yourself the same grace. Over time, you'll notice that self-forgiveness is not indulgence, it's clarity. When guilt softens, learning begins. True compassion also includes wise boundaries. To forgive does not mean to tolerate harm. You can love someone deeply and still step away from their chaos. Compassion is not about allowing others to continue hurting you. It's about wishing them freedom from the ignorance that causes harm while protecting your own peace. The Buddha himself walked away from those who refused to understand. He did not abandon compassion. He embodied it through discernment. Imagine compassion as a lotus blooming in muddy water. The mud does not pollute the lotus, it nourishes it. Likewise, suffering does not destroy compassion, it deepens it. Every time life breaks your heart, it expands your capacity to understand another's pain. The cracks are where the light enters, and the light is what makes you gentle. The practice of compassion is not a feeling. It's a decision to stay open when it would be easier to close, to listen instead of react, to see humanity where others see enemies. Each time you do this, the world softens slightly. The ripple of one compassionate act reaches farther than you'll ever see. There's a story from the Buddha's time about a notorious thief named Angulimala, feared by all. One day, as he pursued the Buddha on a forest path, the Buddha continued walking calmly. "Stop," the thief shouted. "I said stop." The Buddha turned and replied, "I have stopped. It is you who have not." The thief, startled, asked, "What do you mean?" The Buddha said, "I stopped harming others long ago. When will you stop?" Those words pierced the thief's heart more deeply than any weapon could. He dropped his blade and fell to his knees. Compassion transformed him where punishment never could. This is the quiet power of empathy. It interrupts the cycle of harm. When you meet anger with anger, the fire grows. When you meet anger with understanding, the flame has nothing left to feed on. You extinguish it not by force, but by light. Here's something you can try today when someone irritates or hurts you. Pause before reacting and silently ask, what pain might this person be carrying? You don't need to excuse their behavior, but this single question changes the energy inside you. It moves you from defense to understanding. You stop adding to the noise of suffering and start reducing it. And remember, compassion does not mean you always feel love. Sometimes it means choosing not to hate. It means keeping your heart open, even if only a crack, so that wisdom can keep flowing in. The Buddha compared compassion to rain. It falls on all the just and the unjust, without discrimination. Be that rain. Let your kindness touch even those who cannot yet return it. In time, your peace will become their teacher. Because in the end, compassion is not something you do. It is what you are when you remember who you've always been, a being capable of endless understanding. And when you live from that remembrance, the world around you begins softly to heal. There comes a time in everyone's journey when the noise of the world becomes too heavy to carry, when arguments, regrets, and expectations wrap around the mind like fog, and you can no longer see what truly matters. In those moments, something within you whispers, "Be still." That whisper is not weakness. It's the call of your own soul asking to come home. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." Yet most of us spend our lives doing the opposite. We chase peace in possessions, people, success, and approval, like thirsty travelers digging in dry sand. But true peace cannot be found in what changes. It can only be found in what does not. The stillness within you has never moved, even as the world has turned. You only forgot where to look. Imagine sitting beside a clear lake. When the wind blows, ripples distort your reflection. The more you try to smooth them, the rougher the water becomes. But if you simply wait, the ripples fade on their own and the reflection returns. The lake never lost your image, it only lost its calm. The same is true of the mind. You don't find peace by forcing it. You find it by ceasing to stir it. Stillness is not doing nothing. It's doing everything from awareness. It's eating without distraction, walking without rushing, listening without waiting to speak. When you live with stillness, every act, even washing a cup or tying your shoes, becomes sacred. Once a young monk asked his teacher, "Master, what is Zen?" The teacher replied, "When hungry, eat. When tired, sleep." The monk frowned. "But everyone does that." The master smiled. "No. When they eat, they think of 1,000 things. When they sleep, they dream of tomorrow. I eat when I eat and sleep when I sleep. That is Zen." Stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the absence of resistance. The river flows effortlessly, not because it avoids obstacles, but because it yields to them. The mind that resists life suffers. The mind that flows with it finds ease even in hardship. Try this practice for 1 hour each day. Do something, anything in silence. No music, no phone, no conversation. Just be with what is the sound of your breath, the rhythm of your steps, the warmth of the sun. Notice how the world speaks when you stop trying to control it. Notice how your thoughts begin to settle like dust in a quiet room. Silence reveals what noise conceals. In silence, you start to hear your intuition, that soft, guiding voice that's drowned out by constant thinking. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It says this way. It reminds you of who you were before the world told you who to be. The Buddha called this awareness, sati, mindfulness. It is the art of remembering the present moment. The past is a memory, the future a projection. Only this breath, this heartbeat, this instant is real. And in this instant, if you are fully here, peace is unavoidable. You may ask, but how can I find peace when the world is unjust, when pain is everywhere? The answer is paradoxical. You don't wait for peace to come after suffering ends. You bring peace into suffering. You become the calm in the middle of chaos. Like a candle in a dark room, you do not eliminate the darkness, but you make it bearable. There's a story from Japan about a samurai who came to a monk trembling with anger. "Teach me about heaven and hell," he demanded. The monk looked at him and said, "Why should I waste words on a fool like you?" The samurai's face flushed with rage. "I could kill you for that." The monk smiled calmly. "That," he said, "is hell." The samurai froze. His sword fell from his hand. Tears filled his eyes. "And that said, the monk is heaven." Heaven and hell are not places, they are states of mind. Every moment offers both the hell of reaction or the heaven of awareness. You choose which world you live in by how you meet the next breath. When stillness takes root, you begin to see clearly that everything, joy, anger, sorrow, pleasure, arises and passes like waves on the ocean. You are not the wave. You are the ocean. Even as life crashes and foams, your depths remain untouched. Stillness does not mean withdrawal. It means engagement without entanglement. You can love fully without clinging, work diligently without craving results, speak truthfully without needing to win. When action arises from stillness, It becomes effortless, a dance, rather than a struggle. The Buddha taught that one who conquers the mind conquers the world. To be still is to wield quiet power, the kind that transforms without force. When you are still, others feel it. Your calm becomes contagious. You stop reacting to energy and start radiating it. In the West, people say silence is golden. But in Buddhism, silence is not gold, it is truth. Because only in silence can you hear what life has been whispering all along. You are already enough. You have already arrived. Try ending your day with this reflection. Before sleep, sit upright for a moment. Feel the breath move in and out. With each exhale, release everything you carried, the arguments, the regrets, the noise. With each inhale, receive the quiet gift of the present. When the mind says, I should be doing something, gently answer, I am already home. In that pause between breaths, you touch eternity. That pause is the doorway between doing and being, between seeking and seeing. And the truth waiting there is simple. Nothing needs to change for you to be free, only your attention. Let the world spin. Let the storms rise and fall. Sit in your center still as a mountain, soft as a cloud. The more you dwell there, the more you'll realize peace was never something to find. It was the space between every thought, the silence beneath every sound, the stillness you've carried within you all along. Somewhere along the road of life, you realize that everything you've been chasing, success, love, recognition, control, was never really what you wanted. What you wanted was how you believed those things would make you feel safe, seen, whole. But the truth is, no person, no achievement, no possession can give you what is already inside you. The Buddha called this the greatest misunderstanding of humanity, the belief that happiness lies in what changes instead of in what is. When we are young, we chase the horizon. We say, when I get there, I'll be happy. But each time we arrive, the horizon has moved. The world teaches us to seek fulfillment in the next thing, the next stage, the next victory. And yet the more we gather, the emptier we often feel. It's like drinking salt water. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. True contentment comes not from adding to life, but from subtracting what blocks your natural joy. It's not about getting more, it's about needing less. When the mind stops grasping, the heart begins to bloom. Once a monk was asked what enlightenment felt like. He smiled and said, like ordinary life but 2 inches off the ground. The student laughed, thinking it was a joke, but the monk meant it. Enlightenment does not make life extraordinary. It reveals the extraordinary in the ordinary. The way sunlight touches your hands, the sound of rain on a roof, the breath moving through your body. These are miracles overlooked only by the restless. Happiness is not the firework of a perfect moment. It is the candlelight of awareness. It burns quietly, but steadily. It needs no applause, no approval, no grand reason to exist. It simply shines. Try this the next time you catch yourself thinking, if only this were different. Pause and ask, what's missing right now if I stop wanting more? In that pause, you'll feel a strange stillness, almost foreign. That is contentment. It's always there, just hidden beneath the noise of wanting. The Buddha taught the middle way, not indulgence, not deprivation, but balance. To live between grasping and rejecting, to move through the world like a dancer in rhythm with change. You can enjoy what comes without clinging and release what goes without resistance. There's a story about a man who spent years searching for a priceless jewel, unaware that it had been sewn into the lining of his robe all along. Only when he stopped searching did he discover it. We are that man. We search the world for joy, not realizing it is sewn into the fabric of our being. When you stop seeking happiness as an object, you begin to experience happiness as a presence. You don't own it, you inhabit it. It's not something that happens to you. It's what you are when you stop arguing with the moment. Look at a tree. It does not strive to be taller than its neighbor. It does not rush the seasons. It grows as it must, rooted patient content. The tree does not suffer because it doesn't compare. Humans, however, measure everything: our success, our beauty, our worth against others. And comparison is the thief of peace. The Buddha said, "Contentment is the greatest wealth," because the one who is content can never be poor, and the one who is discontent can never be rich. When you realize this, gratitude becomes your true currency. Try a simple gratitude practice each night before sleep. Recall 3 ordinary moments from your day that brought even a flicker of peace: a warm drink, a kind glance, a breeze on your face. Don't look for grand miracles. Look for the quiet ones. Write them down if you wish. Over time, you'll notice how abundance grows wherever attention rests. Contentment is not the end of ambition. It's the end of anxiety. You can still dream, create, strive, but now from fullness, not from lack. You act because your heart overflows, not because it hungers. There's a great difference between chasing happiness and expressing it. One leaves you exhausted, the other leaves you free. There's a verse from the Dhammapada: "Let go of what is not yours. Burn not with desire for what cannot be kept." These words are not a command to renounce life. They are an invitation to enjoy it without imprisonment. When you touch life lightly, life touches you back with grace. In a Zen monastery, a student once complained, "My life feels empty." The master handed him a teacup and poured until it overflowed. "Stop," the student cried. "There's no space left." The master nodded, "And that is why you cannot be filled." When the cup of the mind is too full of expectations, there's no room for joy. To feel content, you must first empty yourself of comparison, of control, of should. Try for a day to let everything be exactly as it is. Don't fix, don't improve, don't chase. Just watch. Notice how your breath continues without your command, how the sun rises without your permission, how life unfolds without your interference. In that witnessing, you will feel a quiet trust. That trust is peace. And from that peace, a new kind of joy arises, not the thrill of achievement, but the serenity of alignment. You begin to see that nothing is missing, that every breath is a gift, that even the smallest moment is enough. When contentment takes root, the world softens. You stop reaching for more and start realizing this is already it. The laughter of a child, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of your own heartbeat. Each is the proof that life is whole even now. As the Buddha said, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. You don't walk toward it, you walk with it every step. So slow down. Take a breath. Look around. Nothing you seek is outside you. You already are what you've been searching for. There is a tenderness in being human, a raw, unguarded vulnerability we spend our entire lives trying to protect. We build walls of pride and armor of certainty, pretending we are untouchable. But deep inside, every heart trembles the same way, afraid of loss, of rejection, of not being enough. The Buddha never denied suffering. He looked directly at it and said, "Yes, this too belongs." It is in that radical acceptance that healing begins. Most people think awakening means rising above pain, but in truth, it means entering it fully, not as a victim, but as a witness. When you stop running from suffering, you discover it has been trying to teach you all along. Every ache, every heartbreak, every failure is not punishment. It is the universe whispering, "Wake up." There's a story of a monk who asked his teacher, "Why is there so much suffering in life?" The teacher pointed to a rose and said, "Because you long for its beauty, but not its thorns. We want life's sweetness without its sharpness, joy without sorrow, gain without loss. But they are two sides of the same coin. You cannot have one without the other. The thorns protect the bloom. Pain is not the enemy. It is the doorway to wisdom. When you stop labeling it as wrong, it begins to reveal its gift. Suffering cracks open the shell of illusion, the illusion that life should always be comfortable, that control is possible, that permanence exists. Pain humbles the mind and softens the heart. Without it, compassion would remain theory. Think of gold. It becomes pure only when passed through fire. Likewise, the soul becomes luminous through suffering. Each trial burns away a little more of what is false, the pride, the fear, the self-importance, until what remains is simple and real. The process hurts, but the result is clarity. When sorrow visits, you do not rush to escape. Sit with it gently, like an old friend. Ask, "What are you here to teach me?" It might say, patience, or forgiveness, or let go. Listen closely. When you honor pain instead of resisting it, it transforms. The Buddha called this turning the arrow. The first arrow is life itself, the inevitable pain of change, loss, and mortality. The second arrow is our reaction, the anger, blame, or denial that multiplies the suffering. You can't avoid the first arrow, but you can choose not to shoot the second. Next time life pierces you, pause before reacting. Feel the rawness. Breathe into it. Let it be what it is. Don't add the story, "Why me? This isn't fair. I can't stand it." Those thoughts are the second arrow. Without them, the wound heals faster. There's an old image from the sutras. When a storm strikes the ocean, the waves rage on the surface, but deep below, the water remains still. Suffering belongs to the surface mind, the level of thought and emotion, but in the depths of awareness, there is always peace. Meditation helps you dive there beneath the turmoil into that quiet space that cannot be harmed. Remember, even pain is impermanent. What feels unbearable today will one day be a memory softened by time, perhaps even gratitude. Think of the wounds you once thought you'd never survive yet. Here you are, wiser, deeper, kinder. Pain did not destroy you. It sculpted you. Try this exercise. When a difficult emotion arises, sadness, anger, fear, close your eyes and name it gently. Hello, sadness. Hello, anger. Feel it in the body. Where does it live? The chest, the stomach, the throat. Don't analyze it. Just allow it. Keep breathing. Imagine each breath as a soft hand resting on that feeling. Slowly, the emotion begins to lose its edge. What was once a storm becomes a wave, then a ripple, then silence. This is how awareness heals, not by erasing pain, but by holding it so fully that it can no longer hold you. In the Pali Canon, there is a phrase, "Sabbe sankhara anicca," all conditioned things are impermanent. That includes pain. Even despair, when seen, clearly begins to dissolve. Clarity itself is the cure. There's a teaching that says, when your heart breaks, it's not breaking apart, it's breaking open. Every fracture lets in more light. The more deeply you've suffered, the more space you have inside for empathy. The most compassionate people are often those who have suffered most because they no longer fear pain theirs or anyone else's. If you can hold your suffering with tenderness instead of hatred, it transforms into wisdom. It stops being my pain and becomes the pain, a shared truth of being human. That is the moment compassion is born, when your wounds stop separating you from others and start connecting you to them. The Buddha's awakening came after he saw suffering and refused to turn away. He did not transcend the world. He embraced it fully. You too can awaken that way, not by escaping your pain, but by embracing it with awareness. Tonight, when you feel weary or alone, place your hand on your heart and whisper, "I am allowed to feel this." Stay there for a few breaths. Notice how the heart softens when it's seen. Pain only screams when it feels ignored. And then, when you are ready, whisper again, "This too is passing." The sun sets, the wound heals, the wave returns to the sea. Every sorrow eventually finds its rest. Let yours, because one day you will look back and realize your pain was never a punishment. It was the path itself guiding you toward the stillness that has been waiting patiently beneath every ache. In the quiet space between what you planned and what life delivers, a truth begins to reveal itself, one that both humbles and frees you. You are not in control. You never were. The storms, the blessings, the delays, the miracles, they arrive on their own timing, guided by a rhythm older than the stars. The Buddha called this rhythm Dhamma, the natural law, the unfolding of life exactly as it must. Everything arises from countless causes and conditions, all intertwined beyond comprehension. What we call fate or luck is simply the ripple of this vast interconnection. But the human mind rebels against uncertainty. It wants predictability, assurance, control. We make plans and then suffer when they crumble as if reality has betrayed us. Yet in truth, it is not life that breaks our hearts. It is our insistence that it obey our will. Control is the great illusion, and surrender is the great liberation. Surrender is not giving up. It is giving in not to defeat, but to trust. It is saying, "I may not understand, but I will allow." It is the recognition that the river of life knows its course better than the swimmer. You may think you are steering, but it is the current that carries you home. There's an old parable. A man was caught in a flood, clinging desperately to a tree branch. The current roared around him. "I can't let go," he thought, "or I'll drown." Hours passed. His arms ached. His strength failed. Finally, in exhaustion, he released the branch and discovered the current carried him gently to shore. What he feared as death was actually deliverance. Letting go is like that. The branch you're clinging to, the plan, the expectation, the idea of how things should be, is what keeps you trapped. The moment you release it, life begins to carry you. You see, surrender is not weakness. It is the ultimate act of courage. It requires faith, not in some distant deity, but in the intelligence of life itself. Every season turns without your command. Every heartbeat pulses without your permission. Why then do you doubt that the same wisdom guides your path? The Buddha often spoke of the lotus. It blooms unsullied even in muddy water because it trusts the nature of things. It does not fight the mud. It grows through it. Likewise, when you surrender to the unfolding of your life with all its messiness, its uncertainty, its pain, you bloom in ways control could never achieve. Try this reflection. Think of a time you thought life had betrayed you, a heartbreak, a loss, a door slammed shut. Now look at what came after. Can you see how that moment shaped you, protected you, redirected you. The mind calls it chaos. Wisdom calls it choreography. When you let go of control, something remarkable happens. Peace begins to replace anxiety. Because anxiety is born from resistance, the gap between what is and what you think should be. The wider the gap, the greater the suffering. But when you surrender, the gap closes, life and you become one movement again. The poet Rumi wrote, "Try not to resist life's changes, for they unfold in your favor. Even the detours, the delays, the heartbreaks, all of them are threads in the tapestry." You may not see the pattern yet, but the hands weaving it are wise. Still, surrender doesn't mean passivity. It means acting with presence, not attachment. Do your best, plant seeds, nurture them, but release the obsession with outcomes. When the fruit ripens, eat with gratitude. When it doesn't, bow with acceptance. This is the middle way. There's a teaching from Zen: let go or be dragged. Resistance drags, surrender frees. You can feel it physically, the tightness in the chest, when clinging, the lightness when releasing. Each exhale is nature's way of teaching surrender. Every breath says, "See you let go," thousands of times a day and still live. Practice this consciously. Throughout your day, notice when tension arises, the clenched jaw, the racing thoughts, the need to fix or control. In that moment, pause. Take one slow breath and whisper, "I trust." Then soften your shoulders. Feel the release ripple through your body. That's surrender made visible. When life seems unfair, remember karma is not punishment or reward. It is the law of cause and effect unfolding through infinite threads of intention and consequence. Some seeds bloom quickly, others take years. Your task is not to judge the harvest, but to plant with awareness. The Buddha once said, "If you let go a little, you will have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you will have a lot of peace. If you let go completely, you will be free." Let those words sink in. Let them become your practice. To live surrendered is to become like the wind, moving freely, shaping nothing yet touching everything. You begin to trust that whatever happens is not against you, but for you, even when it breaks your heart. Because every ending clears space for something new to begin, and every loss teaches you what truly matters. The greatest freedom comes not when life bends to your will, but when your will bends to life. When you can bow to both the sunshine and the storm and say thank you, not because it's easy, but because it's real. So loosen your grip. The branch will not save you. The current will. Let it carry you through fear, through uncertainty, through change, until you realize that surrender was never about giving up. It was about coming home. If you look deeply, you'll see that almost all the noise in your life comes from wanting things to be different. You want people to understand you, the past to change the future to be certain. You want your body to be stronger, your mind to be quieter, your heart to be healed. But wanting is endless. It multiplies like echoes in an empty canyon, each one chasing the next. The Buddha called this tanha, the thirst that keeps the wheel of suffering turning. The truth is, peace begins the moment you stop demanding that reality be other than it is. When you finally whisper to life, "I'm willing to be here now," the fight ends. You may still feel pain, but pain without resistance becomes tenderness. It becomes aliveness. There's a story of a monk who meditated in the forest during the monsoon season. His hut leaked, insects bit his skin. Thunder roared through the night. "Why must this be so hard?" he complained. Then one evening, a wild bird sang through the storm. He realized the bird wasn't fighting the rain, it was singing with it. That night, he stopped resisting. He listened, and for the first time, the sound of rain became music. That's what acceptance feels like. Not numbness, not surrendering to despair, but harmony, a soft yes to the rhythm of life as it is. We think acceptance means giving up our dreams, but it's the opposite. It's the soil from which wise action grows. When you accept what is, you see clearly what can be done and what cannot. Resistance clouds the mind. Acceptance clears it. From that clarity, right effort arises naturally. Imagine holding a rope during a tug of war. The more you pull, the more the rope burns your hands. The moment you let go, the pain stops, not because the rope changed, but because your relationship with it did. Acceptance is that letting go. It doesn't mean the world stops moving. It means you stop burning. Try this simple practice throughout your day. Notice the moments when irritation or resistance arises, the traffic, the delay, the disagreement. Instead of reacting, pause and silently say, "This too." Just 2 words, but they carry the power of surrender. This too means I allow this to exist without fighting it. The moment you say it, something softens inside you. The storm still rages, but you're no longer caught in it. The Buddha's serenity was not because his life was easy. It was because he met each moment without resistance. Joy, pain, hunger, insult, he greeted them all with the same calm awareness. He did not cling to pleasure nor run from discomfort. Like the sky, he allowed every cloud to pass without losing his vastness. We live in an age that worships control, but peace belongs to those who dare to release it. You cannot breathe if you never exhale. You cannot receive if your hands are always clenched. You cannot be free if you keep fighting what is. Acceptance doesn't mean you approve of injustice or stop acting for change. It means you stop adding hate, fear to fear. You act from wisdom, not from reactivity. You speak truth without poison. You move mountains without breaking your heart against them. Think of water. It yields to every obstacle but wears down stone with patience. That's the strength of acceptance. Flexible, persistent, unstoppable. The Buddha once said, "In the end, all things yield to the gentle." Try another reflection. Bring to mind something unresolved in your life, something you've been fighting. A person, a circumstance, a regret. Now breathe into it and say inwardly, "I accept that this too is part of my path." Don't analyze it. Just feel what happens in the body. Most likely a small knot begins to loosen. The grip softens. That softening is the first taste of peace. Acceptance doesn't fix everything. It doesn't need to. It simply opens the door to what's real, because only when you stop rejecting reality can transformation begin. You cannot heal what you refuse to see. When you accept life, you stop trying to control the tide, you learn to swim with it. You realize that every wave, even the ones that knock you down, is carrying you toward the shore of understanding. In Zen, they say, the obstacle is the path. What you resist most fiercely often contains your greatest lesson. The heartbreak teaches love's depth. The loss reveals impermanence. The failure humbles the ego and opens the soul. When you embrace what hurts, it stops being your enemy and becomes your teacher. So the next time life doesn't go as you hoped, don't rush to fix or flee. Sit for a moment in stillness and whisper, "This too." Watch how the heart, which was tight and defensive, begins to breathe again. Watch how acceptance dissolves the illusion of separation between you and the world. Because ultimately, there is no you apart from what is happening. You are life experiencing itself, not a spectator, not a controller, but a participant in the great unfolding. When you live with acceptance, even suffering becomes sacred. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this showing me?" That shift is everything. It turns bitterness into wisdom, confusion into clarity. The Buddha said, "Let go of what was, let go of what will be, and rest in what is." That is the essence of awakening, not a mystical escape, but a deep embrace of reality, moment by moment. Acceptance doesn't end pain, but it ends the war inside. And in that peace, you discover a freedom greater than control, the freedom to love life exactly as it is, incomplete, impermanent, unpredictable, and profoundly beautiful. There's a quiet power that comes from learning how to be alone, not lonely, but alone in the truest sense, fully present with yourself, without distraction, without reaching outward for validation or escape. Most people fear solitude because in its silence, everything they've been avoiding begins to speak. But the Buddha taught that solitude is not isolation. It's intimacy, the deep meeting between you and your own consciousness. In today's world, solitude has become almost impossible. Every empty space is filled with noise, messages, screens, endless information. We fear silence as though it were a void, when in truth, it's the womb of awakening. Every great realization, every genuine insight has been born in stillness. There's a story about a monk who spent years traveling from temple to temple seeking enlightenment. One day, an old hermit asked him, "Why are you running from yourself?" The monk frowned. "I'm not running," he said. "I'm searching." The hermit smiled. "Then stop. Sit down. Be silent. You'll find what you seek, sitting quietly behind your restlessness." The monk stayed 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, until finally he realized the truth. All his life, he'd been chasing something that had never left him. To sit alone is to meet yourself without disguise. At first, it's uncomfortable. The mind fidgets. The heart remembers, the body resists. But if you stay long enough, something miraculous happens. The noise begins to settle like dust in sunlight, and a vast, gentle awareness emerges. You realize you are not the chaos of your thoughts. You are the space in which they come and go. This realization is freedom. Because if you are the space, then nothing can truly disturb you. Thoughts, fears, and emotions rise and fall, but you remain untouched, like the sky that holds every storm, yet is never harmed by rain. Try this simple practice. Spend 10 minutes each day without distractions. No phone, no music, no talking. Just sit and breathe. Notice how the mind resists. It will tell you this is boring, pointless, uncomfortable. Smile at those thoughts. They're like children craving attention. Let them play without joining them. Slowly, beneath the noise, you'll start to sense a deeper stillness, one that doesn't depend on anything. That stillness is your true nature. Solitude reveals truth because it strips away illusion. When you're alone, you can no longer hide behind roles, not parent, partner, employee, friend. You meet the one who exists before all identities. You meet pure awareness, not something to achieve, but something to remember. The Buddha spent many years in solitude, not because he rejected the world, but because he sought to understand it from within. When you are still enough, the world begins to reveal itself as it really is, interconnected, impermanent, alive. In silence, you see how thoughts arise from nowhere and dissolve back into nowhere, how emotions bloom and fade, how every moment is both birth and death. But solitude is not meant to be permanent withdrawal. It is a sacred pause, a return to the well of being, so you can re-enter the world with clarity. You go inward, not to escape humanity, but to serve it better to love, without need to listen, without judgment, to give without depletion. There's a parable about a candle that wanted to know what light was. It searched everywhere in temples, in books and teachers, until it met another candle who said, "You must become what you seek." The first candle hesitated, then lit its own flame. In that instant, the question disappeared. Solitude is the moment you light your own flame. To be alone is to discover that you are never truly alone. The same awareness that breathes through you breathes through all beings. When you touch that truth, the boundary between I and you begins to dissolve. You start to sense the great web that holds everything together, the trees, the rivers, the stars, the strangers. Solitude connects you not by company, but by consciousness. Sometimes people ask, but isn't solitude selfish? No, it is self-full. You fill yourself with stillness so you can pour peace into the world. You retreat not to abandon others, but to remember the part of you that can love them without fear. Try this reflection. Next time you feel lonely, instead of reaching outward for distraction, close your eyes and whisper, "I am here." Feel the presence behind the words, the awareness that has been with you through every joy, every heartbreak, every breath. That awareness has never left you. You are its home. Loneliness says, "I need someone to complete me." Solitude whispers, "I am already whole." The difference between the two is awareness. In the Udana Sutta, the Buddha said, "The one who delights in solitude, who sees clearly, who knows the uncreated, that one is free." To delight in solitude doesn't mean rejecting the world. It means no longer needing it to fill an inner emptiness. When you find peace in your own company, every encounter becomes a gift instead of a transaction. Look around you. Everything that grows strong does so in solitude. The seed in the soil, the star in the darkness, the tree in the silence of the forest. Growth doesn't happen in the crowd. It happens in the quiet. So sit with yourself. Not to fix, not to judge, but to listen. Under the layers of noise and thought and identity, there is a still, clear voice that says, "I am." That voice is not lonely. It is infinite. When you return to it again and again, you become like a mountain surrounded by weather, but never moved by it. You begin to understand what the Buddha meant when he said, "Peace is not found in the crowd, nor in the forest, but in the heart that is free everywhere. Be alone, be still, be whole." And when you walk back into the world, you will carry the silence with you, not as emptiness, but as presence. There is a strange paradox at the heart of human existence. We long for connection, yet we live behind walls. We crave love, yet we fear vulnerability. We want to be seen, but we wear masks to hide our truest selves. The Buddha called this the dance of illusion. Beings circling endlessly in the cycle of desire and fear, never realizing that what they seek from others can only be found within. Love in its purest form is not something to get. It is something to give. It is not a bargain, not an exchange. It is an overflowing, a natural expression of awareness. But to love like that, one must first dissolve the false self that says, "I need you to complete me." Because as long as love is driven by lack, it cannot be free. There's a story of two monks crossing a river. They found a woman unable to cross the strong current, so one monk lifted her onto his shoulders, carried her across, and set her down. Hours later, as they continued walking, the other monk said, "Brother, how could you touch that woman? We are forbidden to do so." The first monk smiled softly. I put her down by the river hours ago. Why are you still carrying her? We do this all the time. Carry people in our minds long after they've left our lives. We cling to old hurts, old loves, old stories. But love that clings is not love. It is attachment. The Buddha distinguished clearly between the two. Attachment says, I need you to be happy. Love says, may you be happy even if I am not part of your happiness. Attachment is born from fear. Love is born from understanding. Fear says, you belong to me. Understanding says, we belong to the same flow of life. When you practice love with awareness, it ceases to be personal, it becomes universal. You begin to see the same sacred spark in every being, the same longing to be safe, to be free, to be at peace. Compassion naturally grows. The boundaries of mine and yours begin to dissolve. But to reach this kind of love, the heart must first be broken, not in despair, but in awakening. Because when the heart breaks open, the walls fall and the truth pours in. You begin to see that love was never about two people meeting halfway. It was always about the universe recognizing itself through two faces. Try this reflection. Bring to mind someone you love deeply. Notice how your chest expands, how warmth rises. Now think of someone you struggle to love, someone who has hurt or disappointed you. Notice the tension, the closing. Breathe into it and silently repeat. Just as I wish to be free from pain, so do they. Keep repeating it until the heart softens even slightly. That softening is not weakness, it is liberation. Love without awareness becomes attachment. Awareness without love becomes emptiness. The path is to bring them together, love guided by wisdom, and wisdom illuminated by love. The Buddha said, as a mother protects her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings. That is the essence of metta loving kindness that includes everyone, including yourself. The world confuses love with possession, but true love is spacious. It gives freedom instead of fear. It says, I want you to grow, even if that growth takes you away from me. Such love cannot be lost because it was never based on ownership, only on presence. Think of the sun. It does not choose whom to shine upon. It gives warmth equally to the tree, the stone, the flower, and the shadow. Be like the sun. Let your love shine without calculation. The moment you say, I will love only if, love begins to die. Conditions kill love. Awareness revives it. Once a student asked his master, how can I love without being hurt? The master replied, you cannot. If you love deeply, you will suffer deeply. But if you close your heart to avoid pain, you will suffer even more the slow suffering of never having lived fully. To love is to risk, but the risk is holy. Because through love, you see the truth of impermanence, that everything changes, that everyone you meet is passing through your life like a sacred guest. The purpose of love is not to keep, it is to awaken. Every relationship, whether it lasts a lifetime or a moment, is a mirror reflecting the state of your own heart. Some come to teach you patience, others to teach you forgiveness, still others to teach you how to let go. When you see relationships as teachers instead of possessions, gratitude replaces resentment. Here's a practice each morning before the day begins. Repeat quietly, may I love without fear. May I be loved without attachment. May I see each being as my teacher. Let these words shape the tone of your day. You will notice how encounters change the same situations, but less grasping, less defensiveness, more openness. Love like that transforms not only your relationships, but your very perception of the world. Suddenly, you see that everything, the breeze, the strangers, the birds, is participating in a silent communion. You are no longer separate. You are part of the great pulse of compassion, beating through all of life. And when heartbreak comes, as it inevitably will meet it with reverence, bow to it. For heartbreak too is a teacher. It breaks the illusion that love can be possessed. It returns you to the truth that love was never yours to lose. It was the universe flowing through you. The Buddha once said, "If you truly loved yourself, you could never harm another." This is the heart of it all. Self-love is not vanity. It is clarity. When you honor your own being, you naturally honor the being in others. Love becomes your way of seeing, not your goal. So love bravely. Love gently. Love without asking for anything in return. Because in the end, love is not something you do. It's what you are when the walls have fallen and only truth remains. There comes a point on every spiritual path where the teachings shift from philosophy to experience. Words can only guide so far. At some point, you must walk through the fire of your own life. The Buddha said, "Do not believe in anything simply because you have heard it. Do not believe in traditions because they have been handed down. But when you find truth in your own heart, live it." Real wisdom is not memorized, it is embodied. It's easy to admire peace in theory, harder to practice it when insulted, betrayed, or afraid. Yet these very moments are your training ground. Enlightenment doesn't happen in temples. It happens in traffic, in arguments, in loss. Every irritation is a mirror. Every challenge is an invitation. Life is not testing you. It is teaching you. There's an old saying from the Zen tradition: before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. It means awakening doesn't change what you do. It changes how you do it. The outer world may remain the same, but the inner world transforms completely. The same chores, the same people, the same problems. But now, instead of reacting, you respond. Instead of fighting life, you flow with it. Think of anger. Before awareness, it controls you. After awareness, it instructs you. Think of fear. Before wisdom, it paralyzes you. After wisdom, it humbles you. Everything that once enslaved you becomes your path to freedom. The ordinary becomes sacred. Try this reflection today as you move through your day. Treat every encounter as your teacher. The rude coworker teaches patience. The long line teaches presence. The child teaches wonder. The silence teaches listening. In this way, your entire life becomes a monastery, and every moment becomes meditation. We often imagine awakening as lightning, sudden, spectacular. But in truth, it is more like dawn, quiet, gradual, inevitable. You awaken not once, but 1,000 times in countless small moments of seeing clearly. Each time you choose awareness over reaction, compassion over blame, presence over distraction, that is awakening. The Buddha compared the mind to a garden. What you water grows. If you nurture resentment, weeds take over. If you nurture mindfulness, the flowers of peace and wisdom bloom. You cannot stop weeds from sprouting, but you can stop feeding them. Each thought, each reaction is a seed. Choose carefully what you plant. There's a story of a disciple who asked his master, "When will I be enlightened?" The master replied, "When you stop seeking and start seeing." The disciple frowned, "But I am already seeing." The master smiled, "You are seeing with your eyes. Try seeing with your heart." Seeing with the heart means perceiving without judgment. It means recognizing that everything, even confusion, has its place in the great unfolding. When you look at life through the eyes of compassion, even suffering glows softly with purpose. To embody wisdom is to stop treating spiritual practice as an escape from pain. It's not about floating above life, but entering it fully awake, open, unafraid. It's about learning to hold contradictions, joy and sorrow, gain and loss, birth and death, all woven into the same fabric of being. The Buddha did not promise a life free of suffering. He promised freedom within suffering. Here's a practical way to live this. The next time discomfort arises, pause and breathe into it. Instead of saying, "I shouldn't feel this," say, "This is what's here." Let your awareness touch the pain without judgment. You'll notice something subtle the moment you stop resisting. The suffering softens. Awareness itself is healing. In the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha described mindfulness as the direct path to purification. It doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means seeing clearly. The clearer you see, the less you are trapped by illusion. You begin to understand that the world has always been as it is. What changes is the quality of your seeing. Imagine life as a mirror. When your mind is clouded, the reflection distorts. When your mind is still, the reflection is clear. Meditation is simply polishing the mirror. You don't change the world by force. You change it by clarity. And clarity reveals the simplest truth of all. You are not separate from what you observe. The tree you admire, the breath you take, the person you love, all arise from the same ground of being. The awakened mind sees this and feels no division. In that seeing, compassion arises naturally, because how could you harm another when you know they are you in a different form? True practice, then, is not about transcending humanity, but honoring it. It's about smiling at your own imperfection, bowing to your own confusion, and walking the middle path with humility. Enlightenment is not the absence of flaws. It is the acceptance of them with full awareness. The Buddha was once asked, "What have you gained from meditation?" He replied, "Nothing. But let me tell you what I have lost: anger, anxiety, fear, and the constant need to control. That is the fruit of embodiment, not accumulation, but release. So begin where you are. Don't wait for a sacred moment or perfect peace. The sacred is already here in this breath, this heartbeat, this conversation, this chance to awaken now. Each step you take with awareness is a step toward freedom. Each breath you take with presence is a prayer. Each act of kindness, no matter how small, is a glimpse of enlightenment expressing itself through you. You don't need to become anything. You only need to remember what you are, awareness experiencing itself through the miracle of being alive. Live that truth quietly, and your very presence will teach more than your words ever could. To walk the path of awakening is to walk the path of balance, the middle way. The Buddha discovered it not in comfort or deprivation, but in the space between the two. Before enlightenment, he lived as a prince surrounded by luxury. After renouncing it, he became an ascetic, starving his body in search of truth. Both extremes failed him. Only when he sat beneath the Bodhi tree, neither clinging nor rejecting, did awakening blossom. The middle way is not a compromise. It is clarity, the steady flame that burns between indulgence and denial. We live in a world of extremes. Everything pulls us outward toward distraction, ambition, consumption. Then, feeling empty, we swing to the opposite pole: withdrawal, avoidance, isolation. The mind loves the drama of oscillation. It fears stillness, but peace lives in the quiet center, in that invisible line where effort and ease meet. Balance is not something you find once and keep forever. It is something you practice moment by moment. Like walking on a tightrope, every step requires attention. When you lean too far toward desire, you lose your grounding. When you lean too far toward rejection, you lose your heart. The Buddha's teaching invites you to live awake to sense when you are off balance and gently return. Imagine a musician tuning an instrument. If the string is too tight, it snaps. If it's too loose, it produces no sound. Only with the right tension does the music emerge. Your life is the same. The middle way is the art of tuning yourself, not too rigid, not too lax. Discipline without kindness becomes harshness. Kindness without discipline becomes indulgence. Wisdom lies in harmony. The Buddha called this samatha vipassana, calm and insight. Calm steadies the mind. Insight sharpens perception. If you have calm without insight, you become complacent. If you have insight without calm, you become restless. But when both dance together, awareness shines like a diamond, clear, strong, and unbreakable. Try this reflection. Think of an area of your life where you're out of balance, perhaps work relationships or your own expectations. Ask yourself, where am I holding too tightly? Where am I not holding enough? Breathe. Then imagine adjusting slightly, like a tree swaying in the wind, rooted yet flexible. Balance isn't perfection, it's responsiveness. There's a story of a monk who meditated so intensely that he neglected his body, refusing food and rest. When he fainted, the Buddha found him and asked, "When you played the lute as a prince, how did you make it sing?" The monk replied, "When the string was too tight, it broke. When it was too loose, it made no sound." The Buddha smiled. Exactly. Walk the path as you would tune your lute. This is the wisdom of moderation, not in the dull sense of restraint, but in the vibrant sense of alignment. A balanced mind is not neutral or numb. It is alive, poised, ready to meet the world as it comes. It feels deeply, but is not drowned by feeling. It acts decisively, but without aggression. It rests without laziness and works without greed. In modern life, balance also means learning the rhythm of engagement and retreat, knowing when to speak and when to listen, when to move and when to be still, when to give and when to replenish. Without retreat, engagement becomes depletion. Without engagement, retreat becomes stagnation. True mindfulness moves between the two, like the tide, always returning, never clinging. Try a practice from the ancient monks at the end of each day. Reflect gently. Did I act too much from craving or too much from fear? Did I speak from haste or from care? Not to judge, but to recalibrate. Awareness is the only correction you need. The next day, you'll walk a little steadier. The middle way also applies to how we see ourselves. Many suffer because they swing between arrogance and self-criticism. One moment we think we are special. The next, we think we are worthless. But both are distortions of the ego. The truth is simpler. You are neither above nor below anyone. You are life expressing itself in one temporary form, no more, no less. When you see this clearly, humility and confidence arise together, like two wings of the same bird. The middle way frees you from the tyranny of opposite success and failure, praise, and blame, pleasure and pain. You stop chasing one and fearing the other. You begin to rest in equanimity, which the Buddha called upekkha, a state of even-minded peace. Equanimity does not mean indifference, it means stability. You can care deeply without being carried away. Picture a candle flame in a still room. It burns brightly, unwavering, unaffected by drafts. That's equanimity. It's not a frozen calm, but a living balance, flexible, awake, centered. When your inner flame burns like that, outer storms cannot extinguish it. To live the middle way is to understand that extremes are easy, anyone can indulge or reject. But balance requires awareness, patience, and maturity. It is a constant listening, a continual adjusting. Once a disciple asked the Buddha, "How do I know if I'm walking the middle way?" The Buddha replied, "When your mind is not pulled by craving nor darkened by aversion, when you can see both joy and sorrow as clouds passing through the same sky, then you are in the center. Let that be your guide. When you feel yourself leaning too far into passion or despair, pause and return to your breath. The breath itself is the perfect teacher, inhaling and exhaling, giving and receiving, always balancing life with death effort, with surrender. Every breath is the middle way in motion. When you live like that, balance stops being an effort. It becomes your nature, effortless, harmonious, complete. So walk gently, speak softly, work steadily, rest deeply. Let your life be a song played on a well-tuned instrument, not loud, not faint, but perfectly in tune with the great rhythm of existence. If you were to trace the source of all human restlessness, you would find it rooted in one illusion, the belief that I exist as something separate, fixed, and unchanging. From this illusion arises comparison, competition, fear, and craving. We defend me and mine as though our survival depends on it. Yet the Buddha taught that the self is like a mirage. It appears solid from afar, but when you approach it, dissolves. What you call I is not a single entity. It is a process, a dance of causes and conditions, ever changing, ever new. He called this insight anatta, no self. And though it sounds unsettling at first, it is in truth the gateway to profound freedom. Because if there is no permanent me, then there is nothing to defend, nothing to prove, nothing to cling to. All fear dissolves with that realization. Think of a wave rising from the ocean. For a moment it believes itself separate. I am a wave. It fears the wind, envies taller waves, dreads the moment it will crash. But when it looks deeply, it sees the truth. It was never apart from the sea. Its rise and fall were just the ocean expressing itself. The wave never dies. It returns to what it always was. We are like that wave. We rise and fall in the great ocean of consciousness, calling ourselves names: teacher, parent, lover, victim. And then we suffer when those names fade. But who were you before any name was given? Who are you when every identity falls away? When you look deeply, you'll see that what you truly are cannot be labeled or lost. The Buddha once said, "Just as a flame arises from a lamp, but is not the same as the lamp, so too is consciousness ever changing, never fixed. Every thought, every emotion, every sensation is transient. The body changes, the mind changes, the world changes, yet awareness remains witnessing it all. That awareness is not a person. It is the pure seeing itself." Try this reflection. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and observe your thoughts as they arise. One moment, there's a memory, then an image, then a sound, then a feeling. Ask yourself, who is watching this? Don't answer with words. Just look. You'll begin to sense the watcher, silent, boundless, untouched by what it observes. That watcher is not you in the usual sense. It's the consciousness before the you story began. When you live from that awareness, life becomes lighter. Praise and blame no longer define you. Success and failure no longer shake you. You move through the world like the sky holding clouds, allowing everything, clinging to nothing. The teaching of no self does not erase individuality. It liberates it. Paradoxically, when you stop clinging to being someone, you can finally be anyone, fluid, spontaneous, authentic. The actor becomes one with the play. You stop performing and start participating. Imagine a drop of rain falling into a river. The drop doesn't disappear, it expands. Its boundaries dissolve, but its essence remains now part of something vast. That is what awakening feels like. You don't vanish, you become infinite. Our suffering comes from mistaking the mask for the face. We build identities around stories. I am the successful one, the failure, the victim, the healer. But these stories are costumes worn by consciousness. The problem isn't wearing them. The problem is forgetting their costumes. When you mistake the mask for the self, every insult becomes an injury, and every loss becomes a death. But when you know you are the actor, not the role, you can play fully and let go gracefully. The Buddha used a simple metaphor. The body is like foam on the river. The mind is like a flash of lightning in the sky. Neither has lasting substance, yet both create beauty in their brief existence. To understand impermanence is not to despair, it is to cherish. Because when you know everything passes, you stop taking anything for granted. You love without clinging, live without hoarding, breathe without fear. Try this next time you look in the mirror. Instead of saying, "That's me," whisper, "That's one expression of life." Watch how your sense of identity softens. You start to notice the fluidity of being, how even your reflection changes each day. You are not a static thing. You are the movement of life itself. From this insight, compassion naturally arises, because when the illusion of separation fades, the suffering of others feels like your own. The boundaries between self and other dissolve into empathy. You no longer love people because they are yours. You love them because they are you. The entire world becomes your reflection. There's a beautiful verse in the Avatamsaka Sutra. When one perceives the interdependence of all things, compassion is born effortlessly. That is the heart of anatta, not cold detachment, but warm connection. When you no longer cling to self, you finally have room for all beings. And so the teaching of no self is not nihilism, it is expansion. The small I dissolves into the vast we. You begin to live as part of the infinite web, giving and receiving without fear of loss, because there is no separate you to lose. Once a disciple said to his teacher, "Master, I am afraid of disappearing." The teacher smiled. You do not disappear when you let go of the self. You only stop mistaking the reflection for the moon. Look up then. See the vast sky that holds you. Every birth, every death, every thought, every breath, all are ripples in the same boundless ocean. You are that ocean, remembering itself through the wave called you. And when you truly know that fear vanishes, because how can the ocean fear the tide? It has been rising and falling forever. So let the wave rise, let it fall. Smile at the impermanence. For what you truly are, awareness itself was never born and will never die. The mind is a restless traveler. It wanders endlessly into memories, into plans, into worries that have not yet arrived. It rarely sits where the body is. The Buddha compared the untamed mind to a wild elephant, powerful but dangerous when uncontrolled. Left alone, it tramples peace and destroys clarity. But when trained with patience and care, it becomes your greatest ally, strong, stable, and gentle. Training the mind is the essence of the spiritual path. It's not about escaping life, but learning to live with a mind that serves you, not enslaves you. Every practice, meditation, mindfulness, reflection exists for one purpose: to bring the mind home. Because the mind that is truly at home is unshakable. You may have noticed this truth yourself. Most suffering comes not from what happens, but from what the mind says about it. A person speaks harshly. The words pass, but the echo continues for hours or days. We replay, reinterpret, resent. We carry ghosts long after the event has gone. But when the mind is trained, it responds rather than reacts. It observes the storm without being pulled into it. There's a story from ancient India about a monk who carried a bowl of water as part of his daily meditation. Each morning, he would set the bowl down and watch until the ripples disappeared. Only when the surface became completely still would he begin to meditate. One day, a younger monk asked, "Why wait so long?" The elder smiled, "Because the still water shows me the sky. Only when the mind becomes quiet can it reflect truth. The same applies to you. As long as the mind is turbulent, truth is distorted. When the mind settles, insight arises naturally. But how do we calm the wild elephant of the mind? Not through force, but through understanding. The Buddha never taught suppression. He taught awareness. You cannot beat the mind into submission. You must guide it with compassion. Start with the breath. The breath is your tether to the present moment. It is always here, steady, faithful, simple. When the mind begins to wander, gently return to the breath as though leading a child by the hand. Each return strengthens mindfulness. Each return says, "I am here." At first, the mind will rebel. It will run to past regrets or future plans. Do not scold it. Smile at it. This too is practice. Every moment of noticing is a moment of awakening. The mind's nature is movement. Your task is not to stop it, but to see it clearly. The seeing itself brings stillness. You can practice this anywhere, not only on a cushion. While washing dishes, walking, or waiting in line, notice the sensations of your breath, the feeling of your feet, the sounds around you. The point is not to achieve some special state, but to remember the ordinary miracle of now. The Buddha taught that an untrained mind is like a thief. It steals your peace, your attention, your joy. But a trained mind becomes a guardian. It watches over your actions, your words, your thoughts. It protects you from your own impulses. There's an image in the scriptures. A farmer digs, channels to guide water. A fletcher shapes arrows. A carpenter carves wood. And the wise train the mind. Without training, water floods aimlessly. With training, it nourishes crops. Without mindfulness, energy disperses in anxiety. With mindfulness, it feeds insight. Try this small discipline every morning before reaching for your phone or speaking to anyone. Close your eyes for just 3 breaths. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. Feel your body arrive before your thoughts begin. This 3-breath ritual anchors you in awareness. It's a small act, but if repeated daily, it begins to reshape your life. Over time, you'll notice something subtle, the space between thoughts. That space is awareness itself. It's like the pause between musical notes. Without it, there would be no melody. The mind's silence is not empty. It is full of presence. That presence is who you truly are. A distracted mind lives in fragments. A trained mind lives in wholeness. When you begin to observe the mind instead of obeying it, thoughts lose their power to control you. Fear may still arise, but you recognize it as a passing cloud. Anger may still visit, but you no longer build a house for it. The Buddha called this Citta Bhavana, the cultivation of the heart-mind. There's a teaching that says, Whatever the mind frequently thinks upon, that it becomes. So if your mind constantly rehearses fear, it becomes fearful. If it nurtures compassion, it becomes kind. The mind is not fixed, it is sculpted by attention. Each thought you choose to water is a seed for tomorrow. Think of mindfulness like tending a garden. Pull the weeds of unwholesome thought, envy, resentment, worry, not with violence, but with patience. Plant seeds of loving kindness and gratitude. Water them daily through practice. Slowly, your inner garden begins to bloom. And when storms come, as they will do, not panic. The mind you've trained will not be uprooted. Like bamboo, it bends, but does not break. Even in the fiercest winds, it returns to uprightness. The Buddha once said, "More than those who conquer in battle 1,000 times, 1,000 men greater is the one who conquers himself." Training the mind is that conquest not through domination, but through understanding. The fruits of a trained mind are countless clarity instead of confusion, patience instead of panic, joy that doesn't depend on circumstance. But the greatest fruit of all is freedom. Freedom from being dragged by every passing thought. When your mind is trained, you can sit amid chaos and remain unshaken. You can listen to insult and hear only pain behind the words. You can lose what you love and still love what remains. So each day, take time to polish the mirror of the mind, not to escape the world, but to see it clearly. When the mind is steady, the world reveals its truth, impermanent, interwoven, sacred. Train the mind gently, guide it kindly, because in the end, the mind you shape shapes your world. If you look deeply into the nature of life, you'll see that everything you experience, pleasure, pain, success, loss, joy, sorrow, is passing through you, like wind through an open window. Nothing stays. Every sound, every face, every feeling arises, dances for a while, and disappears. The Buddha called this anicca, impermanence. To see it clearly is to be free. At first, impermanence feels cruel. You fall in love, and one day that love changes. You build something, and one day it crumbles. You cling to youth, and time gently takes it away. But look deeper. If everything were permanent, nothing could grow. Without death, no birth. Without endings, no beginnings. Impermanence is not the enemy of life. It is life, the pulse, the motion, the breath. There's a story from the sutras. A grieving woman came to the Buddha, her only child having died. "Please, Master," she wept. "Bring him back," the Buddha said gently. "Find me a mustard seed from a household that has never known death, and I will do so." The woman searched every house in the village. Each door she knocked on told her the same story: a husband gone, a parent lost, a child buried. When she returned to the Buddha, her tears had softened. "I understand now," she whispered. "I am not alone." That day her grief became compassion. Impermanence does not steal from us. It connects us. Because all who live must one day lose. All who love must one day let go. To realize this is to open the heart to every other being walking the same fragile road. When you see that everything you cherish is temporary, your grip softens. Instead of holding, you begin to honor. Instead of fearing change, you begin to bow to it. Try this reflection. Think of something or someone you treasure, a person, a place, even a moment. Close your eyes and imagine it glowing softly in your heart. Then whisper inwardly, "This too will change." Notice what happens. The words may bring sadness at first, but stay with them. Slowly, that sadness transforms into gratitude. Impermanence gives things their beauty, because it makes them precious. The Japanese call this wabi-sabi, the art of finding beauty in imperfection and transience. A cracked bowl becomes more beautiful because it tells a story. A fading flower is loved more deeply because it reminds us of the bloom. Nothing lasting ever stays perfect, and nothing perfect ever lasts. The wise do not resist this truth, they celebrate it. Impermanence also dissolves despair. When you suffer, you think this will never end. But everything ends, even pain. No storm lasts forever. Even the darkest night eventually gives way to dawn. The Buddha said, "This too shall pass," not as comfort, but as fact. Suffering is temporary because the conditions that cause it are temporary. When you truly understand this, patience becomes natural. You no longer rush joy nor fear sorrow. You trust the rhythm. You stop trying to freeze moments and begin to flow through them. In meditation, impermanence becomes visible. Watch your breath. Each inhale begins, rises, fades, and ends. Watch sensations in the body, they appear and vanish like sparks. Watch thoughts, they come uninvited and leave unnoticed. The more you observe, the more you realize change is not something that happens to you. It is what you are. You are the living dance of arising and passing away. Imagine standing at the edge of the ocean. Each wave that reaches your feet is a moment. It touches you, then retreats. You cannot hold a wave without losing it. But if you let it wash over you, you feel its coolness fully. That's how to live, not clinging, not pushing away, simply allowing. The Buddha said, "The world is swept away. It does not endure." These are not words of sadness, but of liberation. Because if everything is changing, then suffering itself is not eternal. You are not condemned to be who you were yesterday. Every moment is an invitation to begin again. Try this each morning before you open your eyes. Whisper, "A new life begins now." Each night before sleep, whisper, "This day has passed. Thank you." These small acknowledgments train the mind to live with awareness of impermanence, not in fear, but in reverence. When you stop fighting change, you start to see its intelligence. The leaf falls not in failure, but in faith, trusting that spring will come again. The setting sun is not an ending, but a promise of return. Everything in nature moves in cycles. Nothing is wasted, nothing lost. To understand impermanence is to befriend loss. It doesn't mean you stop grieving. It means you stop resisting grief. You let it wash through you like the tide, knowing that its movement is natural. Grief and love are not opposites. They are the same current flowing in different directions. The deeper you love, the deeper you feel loss, and the deeper you feel loss, the more capacity you have to love again. Impermanence also invites humility. You realize that no title, no success, no identity can be held forever. Today's praise may become tomorrow's silence. Today's strength may one day tremble. And that's okay, because what you truly are, awareness, is untouched by these changes. The body ages, the story shifts, but awareness remains like the sky, vast, unblemished, watching clouds drift through. If you can live with this understanding, every moment becomes sacred. You stop postponing joy. You hold hands longer, listen deeper, speak kinder words, because you know none of it will last, and that's what makes it priceless. The Buddha's smile was not a denial of impermanence. It was born from it. He smiled because he saw that everything, even sorrow, even death, was part of the same perfect unfolding, and that behind the rising and falling, nothing was ever truly lost. One day, when the people you love have passed and your own body begins to fade, you'll see that nothing real has gone. The form dissolves, but the love remains carried on the breath of existence itself. So when you watch the sunset, don't grieve that it's gone. Bow to it. Thank it. Let your heart whisper. This too is beautiful. Because to embrace impermanence is to embrace life itself, fleeting, fragile, luminous, and endlessly reborn. If impermanence is the law that governs all things, then compassion is the heart that makes that law bearable. The Buddha once said, "As rain falls on the just and unjust alike, so does compassion flow toward all beings." Compassion is not pity, not the condescending gesture of the strong toward the weak. It is the deep knowing that no being stands apart, that everyone you meet in joy or pain is another version of you walking a different path. True compassion begins when you stop seeing suffering as something foreign, when you realize that the anger of others is their own unhealed fear, that cruelty is confusion, that arrogance is often a cry for love. Compassion naturally arises. It doesn't excuse harm, but it understands its roots. It says, "You too are struggling. You too want peace." There's a story from the life of the Buddha. One day, a man came to him furious and shouting insults. The Buddha sat silently, his expression serene. When the man paused out of breath, the Buddha asked gently, "If a person offers a gift, and it is not accepted, to whom does it belong?" The man, startled, replied, "To the one who offered it." The Buddha smiled. "Then I do not accept your anger." The man stood speechless, his rage dissolving. Compassion had disarmed what confrontation could not. Compassion is not weakness, it's courage. It takes far more strength to meet hostility with understanding than to retaliate. The mind trained in compassion is like a mountain in the wind. The storms may howl, but the mountain remains unmoved. Try this reflection. Think of someone who has caused you pain. Don't justify their actions, just acknowledge their humanity. Then silently repeat, "May you be free from suffering. May you find peace." At first it may feel forced. The heart may resist. That's okay. Keep repeating it until it softens even slightly. Compassion begins not as emotion, but as intention. The Buddha taught metta-bhavana, the cultivation of loving kindness, as a direct antidote to anger and fear. Begin with yourself. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be at ease. Then extend it outward to a loved one, to a stranger, even to an enemy. This simple practice rewires the heart. What begins as a whisper becomes a living force that radiates through every interaction. Why does compassion heal? Because it dissolves the illusion of separation. When you see the pain of another as your own, the walls between self and other crumble. The great Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh said, "When you plant lettuce and it doesn't grow well, you don't blame the lettuce. You look for the cause. Perhaps it needs water, sun, or nourishment." The same is true for people. This is the essence of compassion, not judgment, but understanding. The moment you understand, forgiveness follows naturally. Not because you excuse harm, but because you no longer wish to carry the poison of resentment. But compassion must also include yourself. Many people are kind to others, but harsh toward their own hearts. They forgive everyone except the person in the mirror. The Buddha reminded us, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." Without self-compassion, even the purest kindness toward others becomes brittle. Try this when guilt or self-criticism arises. Place your hand over your heart and whisper, "It's okay, dear one. You are learning." Speak to yourself as you would to a child who has fallen, not with judgment, but with care. Self-compassion doesn't make you weak. It makes you whole. It heals the split between who you are and who you think you should be. When the heart is filled with compassion, even pain becomes sacred. You begin to see suffering not as punishment, but as the birthplace of empathy. The broken heart, once healed, becomes a vessel wide enough to hold the world. There's a Tibetan teaching that says, pain is the needle that opens the heart. Each wound you've endured has given you the capacity to feel more deeply for others. Your scars are proof that you have loved, lost, and lived, and in them lies your strength. Compassion also requires wisdom. Without wisdom, compassion becomes enabling. Without compassion, wisdom becomes cold. The Buddha compared them to two wings of a bird. Only together can one fly. True compassion knows when to embrace and when to step back. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is allow another to face their own lessons. Compassion without boundaries becomes self-destruction. Compassion with clarity becomes healing. Imagine a lotus flower growing in muddy water. It does not reject the mud, for the mud is its nourishment. Likewise, compassion grows not from purity, but from our shared imperfection. The more you acknowledge your own flaws, the easier it becomes to forgive others. And in practicing compassion, you discover something profound. It's not about changing others. It's about transforming yourself. The moment you choose understanding over judgment, your heart expands. You feel lighter, freer, closer to what is real. The Buddha once described compassion as the trembling of the heart when touched by suffering. That trembling is the pulse of life itself, a reminder that beneath all appearances we are connected. If you want to bring peace to the world, begin here. Let your words be gentle. Let your eyes see the humanity in others. Let your actions arise from understanding rather than anger. Even the smallest act of kindness, a soft word, a patient breath, a silent prayer ripples farther than you can imagine. Because compassion, like fire, spreads from one heart to another until the whole world is lit. So when you encounter cruelty, respond with clarity. When you face suffering, respond with presence. And when you forget, as we all do, forgive yourself and begin again. This is the path of compassion, to see all beings as part of the same great body of life, breathing together, hurting together, healing together. To live with such a heart is to walk through the world like the Buddha himself, steady, awake, and overflowing with love. There is a silence so deep that it cannot be disturbed by sound. It lies beneath every thought, every heartbeat, every word. It is not the silence of emptiness or withdrawal, but the silence of complete understanding, the stillness that remains when there is nothing left to chase or resist. This is the silence of awakening. The Buddha often called it nirvana, not a place, not an escape, but a state of being in which the fires of craving, aversion, and delusion have gone out. The word nirvana literally means blowing out like a candle flame, extinguished not by force, but by the natural absence of fuel. When there is nothing left to burn, only peace remains. Many people imagine enlightenment as a dramatic moment, a lightning bolt that transforms everything. But the truth is quieter, like snow falling in a forest unnoticed, yet changing the whole landscape. Enlightenment is not an arrival. It is a remembering. You do not become something new. You finally stop pretending to be something else. You awaken not to another world, but to this one stripped of illusion. You begin to see clearly that everything you once called mine was never yours, and everything you feared to lose was never gone. The sense of I that clings to life begins to dissolve into the vastness of life itself. And what's left is not absence, but presence, radiant, still, unshakable. There's a Zen parable of a monk who asked his teacher, "What is enlightenment?" The master replied, "When hungry, eat. When tired, sleep." The monk was confused. "But isn't that what everyone does?" The master smiled. "Not everyone eats when eating or sleeps when sleeping." The master's point was simple. Most people live distracted always somewhere else, regretting the past, anticipating the future, never fully alive in the moment. Enlightenment is complete intimacy with now. To eat when eating, to breathe when breathing, to live without fragmentation, that is awakening. But this state cannot be grasped by effort or forced by will. It arises naturally when the mind grows still and the heart softens. You cannot chase nirvana any more than you can catch the wind. You can only remove the barriers that block it, greed, fear, and ignorance, until peace reveals itself, like the sun emerging from behind the clouds. Try this reflection. Sit quietly for a few minutes. Don't focus on doing anything. Simply observe your breath, your thoughts, the sensations in your body. Notice that everything, sound, emotion, memory appears and disappears effortlessly. Who is witnessing all this? Rest in that witnessing. That presence is not something you create. It is what you are when you stop identifying with the noise of the mind. The silence of awakening is not absence. It is fullness beyond description. It's like a river finally realizing it has been the ocean all along. You stop seeking peace and discover you were made of it. You stop trying to control life and begin to dance with it. In this silence, you realize that there was never anything to forgive, because there was never anyone separate to harm or be harmed. The distinctions between self and other, joy and sorrow, life and death, dissolve into one seamless flow of being. The ego, which once shouted mine and me, becomes transparent like mist in morning light. The Buddha described this state as the highest happiness, but it's not the happiness of excitement or gain. It is the happiness of release, the peace that comes when nothing needs to be added or removed. You are simply resting in what has always been whole. A disciple once asked, "Master, what did you gain from enlightenment?" The Buddha answered, "Nothing at all. But let me tell you what I lost. Anger, fear, anxiety, the constant need to control. To awaken is not to acquire, it is to shed. Every layer of illusion, identity, story, desire falls away until only truth remains. What is left is not a person, but pure awareness, vast, luminous, boundless. But enlightenment is not the end of life's challenges. It's the end of confusion about them. The enlightened still experience pain, loss, and death, but without resistance. Suffering ends not because pain disappears, but because the one who suffers is no longer believed to be real. The world continues, but your relationship with it transforms. You move through life lightly, no longer chained by fear or craving. You give fully, love deeply, and let go easily because you know nothing can truly be lost. In this state, even ordinary acts shimmer with sacredness. Washing a dish becomes meditation. Walking becomes prayer. Silence becomes communion. Everything from the laughter of a child to the fall of rain becomes a manifestation of the same truth, impermanent, interdependent, perfect in its imperfection. The awakened one lives in the same world as everyone else, but sees it with new eyes. There is no longer this or that, right or wrong, mine or yours. There is only life, vast, mysterious, unfolding as it should. you begin to understand what the Buddha meant when he said form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Everything you see, your body, the trees, the stars, is both real and unreal. Real as experience, unreal as ownership. When you stop clinging, the world no longer weighs you down. It dances with you. And so awakening is not a destination at the end of effort. It is the natural state revealed when striving ends. It is what remains when the storm of becoming subsides. This is the great paradox of the path. You spend years seeking what you already are. You search for peace as if it were hidden, all the while breathing it in every moment. When the seeking finally drops, you smile because you realize that everything, even the seeking, was part of the awakening itself. The Buddha once said, "The awakened one walks through the world like the moon through the sky, reflected in every pool, yet untouched by any." That is your true nature, luminous, serene, free. So sit for a moment. Feel the breath rise and fall. Let the noise fade. Listen to the silence behind it. The silence that is not the absence of life, but the essence of it. That silence is what you are, and it has been waiting for you all along.